Hello and welcome to this last part of the Super Danganronpa Another 2 series. We are making a tier list.
I guess Danganronpa is a series in general. Danganronpa Another is a series in general. We are done after this. You get to hear all of our post-game nonsense, our character opinions, and how we liked the cast. Or casts, yeah.
Indeed. We have made 2 tier lists, which we will be discussing today.
Yeah, the one you see on screen is mine, and Rina's is much longer than mine.
Which, so long.
Honestly, to be expected. Alright, so, who are we starting with today, Rina?
I mean... I kinda hate to say it, but it makes sense to start with the protagonist of the first game.
Do you want to go through, like, the first game cast first, and then the second game cast, and then, like, whittle down that way?
Makes sense.
Is that how we want to do this? Okay, cool. Hi. I fucking hate Yuki Maeda. As is no secret in our playthroughs. I think he's a very weakly written character, and that he's not investive, and, I don't know. I think his whole, for the sake of expediency, I'm specifically talking about fake Yuki at the moment since we're starting with DRA, but I cannot stand him. I don't like the twist with Utsuro. I think it's a little stupid. I don't think it's well executed, and, it's just like, oh, suddenly I go from nerd to fuckboy. Like, no one cares. Like, not gonna knock on anyone for liking what they like, but, this is not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Yuki and Utsuro, at least first game for those two?
Well, meh. Like it
yeah,
says on there.
Literally.
I tried to like him during Let's Play, but in the end I continuously was fuddled with his thoughts and actions, and I thought he was very wishy-washy. I couldn't really see him.
He doesn't feel like a character as just Yuki. And then you don't see enough of Utsuro, I guess, to get a handle of how he actually is, so he just feels flat and not interesting or investive. And to give credit, maybe that is the roughness of the translation, we don't know, but like from what we've seen, nah.
I mean, it's his actions too, not just his words, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Because like a friend explained it to me once that like the reason they like Utsuro's writing, and I'm not gonna name any names, but like pretty close friend of mine who I met around the time I first got into just the fangirl sphere in general, explained to me Utsuro's reasoning, and that the translation for chapter 6 in order to convey this specific writing for him was done in basically the worst way possible. How that, how do I say this? How that whole exchange between the 3 survivors and Utsuro was supposed to work was he was supposed to keep countering them and make them think of, why are you still fighting? Like, give me your reasoning as to why you're still fighting, until they run out of their reasoning. I don't feel like that was properly portrayed in a good way that was understood well in this version of the translation. Like, no offense to the translators, I know you guys did your best. I just feel like a lot of nuance was lost. I feel like if it was portrayed better, that it might have interested me a little bit more to see that. So I'm hoping that me and the remake team will do a better job of that, but yeah.
Yeah, for Yuki, one thing that always stands out to me also is like that moment when like Akane was really in danger of hurting herself. I was always like, why do I care more about Akane than you? Why do I care more about her than you?
Yeah, that was the other thing too, was like, Akane felt more important to the story than he ever did, and I think a lot of that is just how fucking flat of a character he is. He's not interesting. Like, at all. And so,
Yeah.
obviously, when the brain is bored, you don't pay attention to things that are boring to you. You pay attention to the things that actually have stuff going on. And I guess we can transition into Akane while talking about this. I love Akane. I think she's one of the most well-written in both games. But there are 2 games that allow you to see her writing, for a better lack of example here. But, like, I understand her writing. I know a lot of people don't seem to understand the dynamic between her and Utsuro, Yuki, whatever, but a lot of it is the reason she doesn't leave him, even though she's in and enduring an abusive situation, is because she does not know anything else. That is all she has left. By the time she connected with Ayame in order to understand that there are healthier relationships out there for her to be around, like friendships and whatever, she didn't go through with it because it's mostly a psychology thing, but like when you've only ever known something, you're a bit afraid of change, or it can be that way for certain trauma victims. Like, I think her trauma and everything was written very well. I am frustrated, though, because I do want better for her, but it is not my story.
I also quite like Akane. She is in my very lovely love to see them category. At the start of the game, I was a bit apprehensive, or rather not very interested, because her character archetype is very neglected, let's say. The obvious love interest who's very kind and of course a maid.
Yeah, that's true.
In that sense, I think in the first chapter I didn't really much pay attention to her due to that. So that's why I was even more surprised to see like that I like her clearly much more than Yuki does. But then, yeah, things were changing rapidly with her, holy shit.
Yeah. I'm trying to find a good fact to share about her. Like, I don't really want to share Yuki facts. I know y'all might like him, but I don't want to. Akane actually doesn't have a lot of facts. She has like 7. I'm not gonna read them all, but I'll read like maybe 2. She's actually not as dumb as people think she is. She scored 9th ranking on her test scores. In pre-Despair, she's very close with Kizuna and Kiyoka. And I'm going to share this one because it involves Tsurugi. If Akane and Tsurugi were to fight, Akane has better abilities, but Tsurugi uses weapons and tricks. The victor would highly be dependent on the situation.
I want to see that.
I do too. I think it's funny. But yeah, and obviously her and Ayame are best friends, both pre-Despair and post-Despair.
Yeah.
I guess we can transition to Ayame next.
Not that we forget anyone later because of not doing things in order.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay with the first cast first, and looking at their faces helps. I have, like, a love-hate relationship with the trope that Ayame specifically represents. And that's the trope of, like, selfish savior. I for lack of a better term for it, where the character will do something for another character to get them to not die, basically, but then also doesn't straight up come out with the fact that they did that because they're fearing for their own life. I don't know, the trope has never appealed to me. The other issue with Ayame, for me anyway, is I felt that she was super flat. Like, that she was not doing all that much, to be honest. I appreciate what she does for Akane and how important she is to Akane, but I am not invested in her whatsoever.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. For me, she is in the critical lost potential or missed for me tier, for the reason that I am simply not interested in her. She had a big role in chapter 2, and I do like her friendship with Akane, but in the end, she gave me nothing.
Yeah, it was like, we kept making the joke about Mikako going, "Go girl, give us nothing," but really, like, it was... Ayame did not do much of anything. Like, I get it. It's low-key emotional, I guess, the fact that she did that for Akane, but the writing to me was a bit sloppy, and like I've just never cared for that trope. Every time I see that trope, my brain immediately turns off. But she actually doesn't have a whole lot of facts either. I will share this one because this one's interesting. If Ayame had been alive in chapter 6, she probably would have fallen into despair. And in parentheses, it elaborates that Lineage had never thought about this detail. She doesn't have a whole lot of facts, honestly, from what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, I think
and probably
she gives me the feeling.
Probably scroll a bit more.
She gives me the feeling that she was really mostly created for Akane.
That's what I feel like too. There's another like loose fact here about she mainly drinks ionic beverages or energy drinks.
Makes sense, I guess.
When Ayame staged her leg injury, she stepped ahead of the place where the wire was installed, pretending to slide, and pushed her leg backwards towards the wire. Yeah, we knew that. That kind of came out in the case. It only comes up 10 times in this document. That's why I'm like... Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I didn't know this fact. I haven't read this far. This kind of goes... You know how, in 2, each of the islands was an homage to, like, some of the characters and murderers? Supposedly, before Nikei manipulated the 4th island into the Tower of Babel, the 4th island was supposed to be an homage to Ayame.
Huh.
I would have liked to see that, because it would have actually fleshed her out a bit more, I think.
Yeah, that could really be.
Yeah, there's not much else on here on the Q&A for her, honestly. That's how you know she's a bit flat, dude. Like, even people didn't ask Lanuge that many questions about her. Hello? Alright, let's see. Who else should we do next? You wanna do Kizuna or Maki?
I'm tending towards Maki.
Okay, let's do Maki first. Here's the thing. I do really love Maki, but the problem with her is, with our beloved Kiyoka, is she doesn't have a lot of screen time or, like, anything going on. You don't see any of her good points or, like, the stuff that makes her badass until late game during the flashback chapters. I feel like her dying first was, like, a huge waste of potential for her character specifically, because it would have been really good if she at least... If they wanted to give her an early game death, I think at least keeping her till chapter 2 would have been nice. But at the same time, like, I understand why Lineage killed her that early. It was supposed to be a whole... Is the murders are connected to the victims, yada yada, and it was supposed to be a point at the fact that Mitch likes Maki, whatever. No one fucking cares about Mitch is my point here, but like, Still sloppy writing, in my opinion. I didn't care for it.
Yeah, she has very strong first victim syndrome.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Critical loss potential, definitely. She was so cool in the flashback, but in the end, that's not really enough to push someone up the charts for me.
Yeah, honestly.
It was good enough to push Utsuro further down, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Maki. You would have done a lot better in, like, a romance visual novel or something. Like a romance visual novel with, like, action scenes and stuff, you would have done great there.
Yeah. There's, like, no good facts about her that I'm looking at.
Sad.
Okay, I'll read this one since it's a story fact, but the other ones are not interesting enough for me to say. When Kiyoka was destroying the Monokumas during the attack on the research lab, she didn't know that it was Akane who knocked her out. Akane blended into the Monokumas and broke through the defenses in one fell swoop, so she didn't even know that Akane was the one who took her out. Which, It's really sad, but...
Yeah. Blindsided.
Yeah, she doesn't have, like, a lot of mentions in this document either. That's so disheartening. Alright, do we want to do Kizuna next?
We can, or we can put Mitch out of his misery.
Oh fuck, I forgot he's here. Yeah, let's get that fucking bastard out of the way, please. I fucking hate this man. Hate this guy. Okay. Alright. We're just... Yeah, I want to never talk about him again after this. Okay. Hi. There are a handful of characters I fucking hate in, the Another cast. Mitch is one of them. Which is no one's surprise. Which should be to no one's surprise if you've watched both of our playthroughs. Because I could, even though I voiced him, I couldn't stop shitting on him because I don't like the guy. It's fine in my opinion if you have characters that have undesirable what's the word I'm looking for? Traits. Yeah, it's fine if you have characters that have undesirable traits, and the whole sexual harassment thing with Akane, like, I get it. I just don't really love that I had to see it, because I have, like, a history with that shit. I don't want to be subjected to it if I'm not ready to be subjected to it. Does that make sense? It's a trigger thing. But, like, as a dislikable character, I think he was written well as a dislikable character. A character written for you to dislike.
A hate scene.
However, there are several people in the Another fan circle who I've had a debate with someone before about, like, I don't understand why you don't like Mitch. He's just a normal dude. Which
Ew.
I'm going to debunk that phrasing right now, because if you're saying that Mitch is a, air quotes, normal guy, that means you're enforcing the narrative that normal men, air quotes, would be likely, like, to sexually harass people. And I don't like that narrative because it's a very misandrous narrative. Not all men do that sort of shit, just the shitty ones.
Yep.
So, I don't care if you like Mitch, that's a you thing. Don't fucking say that to defend him, though, because that just pushes the narrative that, like, all men have the potential to do this. And it's like, everyone has the potential to do that, not just men. There are shitty people in the world. Don't use it as a defense for him.
Pointing at Kizuna.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do her next after you give your opinions on Mitch, actually. I think that's a good segue.
The sexual harassers.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mitch got his own category because the only thing really good about him to me is that we can make fun of him.
Literally, he exists for us to shit on. And honestly, there is a running joke in a pocket of the Another fandom where, there's just a running joke about the fact that, Tsurugi blames Mitch for everything.
Okay,
I think I've shown you some fan art of it before. I think it was, I believe the artist is Gabby Can't Draw, drew, like, some little mini comiquettes of, one of them was, Tsurugi riding a bike, and, Teruya and Rei watching him, and he falls off, and he scuffs his knee, and he holds his knee, and he goes, "God damn it, Mitch!" And there's, like, other little stupid comics like that. I appreciate those, because that's fucking hilarious. Keep it going. That's some good shit.
Man.
But yeah, I appreciate that humor of it. I think he is a character that exists to be shit on, personally. I don't think he has any redeeming qualities whatsoever. And flashbacks aside, I don't feel like that is enough to redeem him. I think he is just a dude, a dislikable dude that exists, that can occasionally do good things, I guess, but that's not at all reflective of his entire character.
Yeah, it's, he's a hate sink. Plain and simple, a hate sink. Made to be hated, and that's pretty much it. Man, I mean, first of all, I also do not like sexual harassment, but like even in cases, I mean, I play Otome games. I sadly have liked love interests who sexually harassed before, and like the writing is very different, I can tell you.
I'm sure, because visual novels get carried by their ability to convey narratives through good writing, so of course it's going to be approached differently.
Yep, especially when the sales and impressions of a game hinges on the fact of making you like the sexual harasser. That it's an art. I must say, it's an art. It's incredible what they do sometimes.
And again, all of this is just writing. It's just, you know, I understand these games are free, but I do think that if you're going to include those types of topics in your games, that, like, you keep the rating visible and pretty transparent as to what's in there. Maybe not every little thing, but it should be like, hi, this is geared towards adult audiences. Or the following vague reasons of here. Mentions of sexual harassment, abuse, violence. That's more than enough, you know, normal video game rating. I understand not all the indie scene does that, but I think that ratings are super important when it comes to our media, regardless of whatever it is. Even if it gives you the potential of a soft spoiler going into it, because it's honestly better to be prepared than to not, because you don't know what everyone else has been through. Not everyone has the same experience in life.
Yep. I am glad that most of the more like Josei Muke visual novels, indie games, which I see, they are usually pretty good about content warnings without making them too spoilery.
Yeah. That's good. Let's see, is there a... Why are there so many facts about Mitch? I hate it here. Are any of these going to be ones that I'm going... Oh, I hate this fact. I hate this fact. I hate this fact. I'm reading it. It's terrible. I don't like it. Among the DRA cast, the two who received the most attention from the opposite sex were Mitsuhiro and Kizuna. Why am I not surprised? Lanuj, what are you talking about?
Shit taste. They all have shit taste.
They all have shit taste. Also, apparently, he was close friends with both Haruhiko and Teruya. I don't understand that. His test scores are shit. Understandable. You are literally not smart. And apparently he was close to Kiyoka, which I still don't agree with that writing-wise. Gross.
Kiyoka deserves better.
Wait, hold on. There's one that's a Yuri comparison.
Oh god.
I wanted to find that one specifically. Among both casts, the characters that would be best at date. No. Lanuj, shut up. Lanuja. Absolutely not. What do you mean the two characters that would be the best at dating would be Mitsuhiro and Yuri? But this does not necessarily mean they have experience. What are you talking about?
Okay.
I hate it here! What the fuck do you mean?
That sure is a fact, alright.
Fucking hate it here. I fucking hate it here. Moving on. I'd rather deal with Kizuna now than this. What the hell do you mean? Okay. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? That was awful. Anyway, moving on to Kizuna. That fact just, like, ruined my day. Not really, yeah. I'll get over it, but oh my fucking god. Okay. Here's the thing with Kizuna. I think she is incredibly well written. I think she is a very good, layered character. I think that her trauma is shown in a way that is more accurate than most people give credit for specifically what she deals with. Yes, it is unfavorable and hard to watch. There are some people who endure the type of trauma that she has that do develop that way. That being said, I go back to what I say about the game rating thing, and I think that that should have definitely been added since it was a case of sexual harassment in this game has been mentioned 3 times. 3. Akane's backstory, Mitch towards Akane, And then Kizuna's FTE. And then also just her FTEs in general, because she mentions the whole thing with the cheerleaders and the Yakuza that follow her around. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah,
So, like, yeah, four mentions then, I guess. That's... If you have a topic that comes up in your game that often, that is that distressing, and you don't already have it marked for adults, you need to add the content warning. That's it. Doesn't matter if you're like an indie dev or this is a fan project or whatever. That content warning needs to be there. I'm not gonna apologize for saying that. It just fucking needs to be there. That being said, she was fun to voice. I did enjoy voicing her. I do think her writing is great. I can only handle her in doses, though, just because of how fucking depressing her writing can get, because of how fucking heavy all the stuff with her character is. She's not easy to stomach. I know tons of people, fans alike, do not like her just because of those FTEs, and they don't look deeper as to why her writing is like that. There could have been other ways that were gentler to go about those, topics. And yes, you also have to keep in mind this game is 12 years old.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to keep in mind the language at the time and what all they could get away with certain ratings, too. So, there's that. All in all, I was very mixed about her in flashbacks, too, because, like, it does humanize her more. I will give it that. And her free time events, to a certain point, do give you a deeper look of her backstory of why she is like that. So I think, from a character writing perspective of how fleshed out she is, that part is good. I cannot stomach her all the time, though, because, oh my god.
Yeah.
Alright, what do you think about her, Rena?
Messy feelings sums it up pretty well, I think, because she is, from a liking standpoint, in terms of what characters are my type, so to say, which characters do I tend to like, she absolutely hits the nail on the head, because I do like mean, messy women, which are written well. So I don't like hate sings mean women. Those are boring.
Yeah. And I don't think she's written to be a hate sink.
Nope.
I think she is supposed to be written to be like a dislikable, complex woman.
Yep, it's pretty clear in her, even just in the main story without her free time events, how complex she actually is. And that she's not meant to like just be a throwaway character, because the problem with hate sings is just that they only exist so it feels good when they get put down. And Kizuna isn't like that at all.
Yeah, no, she's not. I agree with that.
She also brought me a lot of entertainment, because that reveal in chapter 2 about what was actually going on with her and Akane.
That case was awesome. Like,
that was
my complicated feelings about Ayame aside, that case was awesome. I really liked case 2 and I really liked case 3 for DRA's chapters, because oh my god, those were good.
So, like, she is my type of character. She is super entertaining. But, and also her writing is good, but also, those free time events, I am a bit too touchy about that subject.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
Because I didn't expect it.
Yeah, no, you weren't prepared going in. And I was blind to DRA, so I couldn't properly prepare you there. I only knew about the Akane one. No one told me about the Kizuna stuff. Like, none of my friends told me about the Kizuna stuff. So when we both, those were live, genuine reactions from us both, because neither of us were prepared for that. I knew about the Akane one and was able to warn for it, but like, no. I didn't know nothing for Kizuna.
Yeah, I mean, I can deal with this topic if I'm warned prior, and... it's just not so... Whenever I see a face, I now rather remember the free time events rather than the wonderful chapter 2, which is sad.
Yeah, that sucks, honestly. How about we transition to... Do you want to do Haru or Satsuki next? Because I want to do them together.
How about Satsuki first?
Okay, we'll go with Satsuki. Oh wait, I didn't give a Kizuna effect. Let me see if there's an interesting one before I don't know if there is, but let's see. The only cute facts here, because all the other ones are kind of tied in with other characters that I've already talked about. Kizuna likes cute things, like baby chicks and Korean crow tits. Aww. Adorable. So, she's still very girly. Sucks about her trauma, though. Okay, now we'll go into Satsuki. When I went into DRA, have a friend who's incredibly enthusiastic about DRA, who unfortunately spoiled me on a lot of big events that happened in this game, especially revolving around Satsuki and Haru. And great that they're excited. And I also got spoiled specifically on who the masterminds were in the turn before it even happened. So unfortunately, my opinions on Chapter 4 and then Chapter 5 and 6 are pretty lukewarm, because I was already expecting certain things to happen before they happened, and I didn't get the opportunity to go through it blind. And part of the reason we delayed uploading our videos for that long was because I wanted to keep Rina as blind as possible so that she didn't experience something similar to what I did that would impact her ability to properly experience the game as it was meant to, and then possibly shift her opinion of it. I didn't want her opinion shifted because she was spoiled or something like that. So specifically for Satsuki, I went in with super low expectations. I wasn't expecting to like her really at all. I didn't start liking her more until, I want to say, Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is when the game really sold her on me. Like, overall, she was, like, sweet and nice, but I normally don't care about this character archetype that is, like, comic relief for the sake of comic relief and, like, too silly, because I take things very literally, so it's hard for me to follow those types of characters, since they have so much whimsy and nuance, and a lot of it's lost on me. No fault to the character, it's just a preference thing. She did grow on me for Chapter 4, though. Still not my favorite chapter, but I think for what she did and her role in the story, that she was well written and very important and able to pull it off. I think that, like, I understand, at least now, even though that chapter was spoiled for me, that I understand why that chapter holds so much precedence and importance to so many of the people who experience DRA themselves. Because she does pull off that emotional smack very well, writing-wise. I think Lineage did do a good job with that.
It's just, I didn't get to experience it that way, so I don't care about it as much.
How about you, Rina? How do you feel about her?
She lovely. I had a very good time voicing her. I'm glad I got to experience Chapter 4 blind, as thanks to you also. And, like, just the whole trial, which starts with her being like, hey, I'm the killer. It's me. Why does no one believe me? Oh, that was very good, very good.
Yeah, I thought her trial was very good, because, like, it really nails in the type of character she is, of like, I'm not gonna put you guys through this. It was me. I don't know how to explain that it was me, but it was me, and I don't want you guys to die just because this happened. And I've come to terms with what happened, and I'm fine with dying too. I thought that in the traditional Satsuki way, that it was portrayed well.
Yee.
I do have a few Satsuki facts.
Oh.
Haruhiko and Satsuki are canon. We already know that. That was already shown loosely. It was loosely referenced in game like a few times. This also was indirectly shown, but it was further confirmed by Lanuge that Haruhiko and Satsuki would both cry and scream if the other were to die. If Satsuki had been the one to die in Chapter 4, Haruhiko, unlike Satsuki, would have tried to deceive everyone to escape.
Ooh. Oof.
Oh, I mean, like, lost love, I guess. It probably would have been a grief thing, if I'm honest. Like, that makes the most sense for him, if it's grief-related. Especially because she was very important to him. Oh, Satsuki has better physical fitness than Haru does. She's stronger than him! Yeah, he's a whole ass twig.
I mean, it makes sense. She does move around a lot for her practices and stuff.
Oh my god. She's afraid of ghosts and blood. She's afraid of things of that nature. She probably doesn't get along with Mikako then. She probably avoids her. That's sad. And she still believes in Santa Claus.
I mean, we all need things to believe in, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this one's cute. Haruhiko and Satsuki's cute relationship. Haruhiko said he confessed first, but I'm curious about how he did it. I don't know exactly what it was, but it must have been a very stupid and silly confession. Thank you, Lanuge. Thanks, Lanuge. That's really fucking funny.
I mean, can you imagine anything else?
No. He'd flub the fuck out of it, honestly. Oh my god, this one's sad. If Haruhiko and Satsuki saw the current Teruya, they'd react by asking who he was. If Teruya reunited with them, he would cry out loud as soon as they meet. Completely understandable. That hurts my heart. Alright, you want to talk about Haru next?
Yes.
Okay. So, same principle as Satsuki, actually, but, like, a little more positive feelings. And part of this is because when I voice a character, I grow somewhat more attached to them because I feel like I understand them better because I am talking like them for ever how long. That usually is a thing with voice acting anyway. Most of the time, or at least in my experience specifically, and some other acquaintances of mine and connections have also said that when they voice a character, they become pretty attached to them. Even if it's a dislikable character. I didn't for Mitch, but we all understand. Haru, I started off with being like, oh no, I don't know if I'm going to like this one. And then we started getting through the chapters, and I was like, hold on, he's actually really fun and really funny. Like, I don't care about some of his character writing. I think he's a little too much of a written pervert, like, in a way that, like, it's not written tastefully, in my opinion, but I'm also really picky about that sort of thing anyway, so, like, it's whatever. I like his writing. I think his fight with his bickering with Teruya in Chapter 4 was just fucking ridiculous. And, I think in general, Haru actually has a lot of narrative importance more so than people give him credit for, because he has connections with Yuki. He has some connection with Tsurugi. He's actually more present in a lot of the main game stuff that happens than people really realize at first, because they're not really paying attention to him. But, like, he's pretty good during trials. He actually he inserts himself a lot as, like, a pretty meaningful group figure, just not everyone notices him. And even players don't even notice it the first time around. But as I was paying attention to him, I was like, wow, you're actually a pretty active group member, and you're really trying to keep the peace with everybody. Like, you're a bit of a hothead, but you're doing your best. So that was a surprise from him that I was not expecting, and it did put him up higher on my list of, like, why I like him. There are some things I don't care for in his writing, but, like, for the most part, he's pretty strong, pretty good. I enjoyed my time with him and voicing him.
Neat.
How do you feel about the boy?
He's a good boy. A very good boy.
Good.
Chapter 4 really showed him off really, really well. I mean, he was always a social butterfly, and like you said, he is present for a lot of conversations, and he does do act. He isn't really noticeable, but he really does talk a lot.
Yeah, like you don't, if you're not paying attention, you don't really notice how much he's actually inserting himself into everything. Because it's like, wow, you're a lot more present than I first thought. Because, like, he comes off as a character that's going to be comic relief, but really, he's not just that. Like, yeah, he's comic relief sometimes, but he actually can get down to business and be serious and help with the rest of the group and try to be force that, like, helps diffuse, especially after, Yamaguchi and Inori died. Like, he tried a little harder about that until he started getting stressed out with the hunger and everything. But, like, he did really good. But, like, yeah, losing 3 people in the group that were, like, the level heads, like, Uehara, Inori, and Yamaguchi, like, all at the same time, that left, like, very few people that actually could keep a level head and weren't combative. Like, Haru was kind of the only neutral party left that had that sort of head on his shoulders. Other than, like, Mikako, who doesn't talk much.
As also, like, he definitely does has his very strong weak points. I mean, just thinking about chapter 4 and how he stole some food, but then took responsibility for it when things really hit the fan.
Yeah. He's just like, yeah, every character is going to have their flaws, and I feel like his are written well enough in a way that, like, it does get you attached to him. Because, like, something that I really liked, because I knew everything that was going to happen, not everything, but basically step by step of how chapter 4 was going to play out. So, the scene you're actually talking about, I noticed immediately, like, when he took on a certain approach to that, as to, like, yeah, I understand, I won't eat my portion. I understood that the reason part of why he was doing that was not only to make up for the fact that, like, he just put hardship on everyone else, but also because he felt like he deserved that. He felt like he deserved that, and he was fine with the idea of self-sacrifice by that point, too. And so was Satsuki. And, like, it's a very subtle note, but if you're paying attention, like, then as you listen to the story, like, the chronological events, very shortly after that is when the duel-off happens. And, like, Haru stages it so that Satsuki shoots him. It's just like, Mans was trying to think of everyone, and it's really emotional.
I mean, he thankfully was rewarded by being very narratively important to Teruya.
Yeah, I do appreciate that, honestly. I think that was a very good choice. And it also fleshes out Teruya a lot. I want to save the 3 survivors for last, since it helps transition into the next game.
Chapter 3?
We have Uehara, Inori, and Yamaguchi. I want to start with Uehara. Personally. Just because I'm biased and would like to get him out of the way first.
Alrighty.
I'll give a Haru fact first, because I think there's a few of them. Nope, I'm not reading that one. There's a not safe for work one in here, and I'm not reading it.
Okay.
I'm not doing it. Oh my god, I understand why he's like this now. Okay, this one's more tame, but I'll read it. Haruhiko's older brother is an ordinary guy. He goes out with a lot of women compared to Haruhiko. Haruhiko's personality was influenced by him to some extent.
Yeah,
blame it on the older brother. Sure. God, he's mentioned a lot in this document. Well, it's probably because he's so attached to most of the cast. He's mentioned several times. Haruhiko, Satsuki, and Teruya are all kind of lazy, so if they were to live together, their household chores would be determined by lottery or a turn-by-turn system.
Of course.
Sorry, that one's hilarious. All right, we'll move on to Uehara now. Okay. So, I don't remember if we left this in during recording. However, personally, I have a very complicated relationship with topic of religions, specifically Catholicism. And I'm lowering my voice just because I don't want people in the house bugging me about it. But so when it comes to characters like him, I am usually pretty reserved and detached at the start because I don't know what to expect from them and how overbearing it could possibly be. Being said, putting that context out of the way, he pleasantly surprised me. I really liked the direction with him when it came down to that specifically. It didn't feel overbearing. He was very supportive. He was a general good influence and just voice of the group in general. And I also liked the sort of foil thing he had going on with Kinjo about challenging his beliefs up until, like, he got executed.
Mm-hmm.
I understand, like, now I do anyway, even though it really upset me at the time because those two are my favorites, Inori and Yamaguchi. It really upset me that he killed them, but I understood his motivation behind as to why. Because he thought that he was saving more people at the sacrifice of just one or two. So, like, I get it. I think, writing-wise, that he's pretty strong. Like, stronger than I would have initially given him credit for if I went through this game by myself. And, also, Rina's performance of him actually made me like him a bit more than if I was probably going through this alone. And I've also... Yeah, I've also talked to, I have a close friend who, like, this is his favorite DRA character. And I've talked to him in length about Uehara's writing to better understand him while I was going through DRA with you. And, like, that's what helped me open up to the fact of, like, okay, I don't hate you, but I am very cranky with you about the fact that you just killed two of my faves. But, like, his message and his, altercation with Kinjo stays with him for like ever since then. Like, even into game 2, it fucking stays with him. And we can get into that later when we actually cover Kinjo, but yeah.
Phew. I can't believe my non-serious performance as Uehara made the impression better.
I felt like felt like your portrayal of him in the cadence of delivery was on point, to the point where it actually felt like he was talking. So, like, it made it easier for me to be like, okay, you're chill.
Man, I must rewatch the old videos because you know what I have in mind right now? That one sound clip I did for you with voicing the meme.
I know, it's great. I still love that a lot. It's really good.
It's like, ah, yes, that is truly him talking, and I'm just, I can't.
I need you to know when you initially sent me that, I was almost crying, laughing. I had it ended up looping twice, and I had to struggle to turn it off because I was in stitches. It was really funny to me.
What do you think how hard it was for me to voice that with a straight face?
Oh, I'm sure it took you a few tries.
Man.
What's your opinion on Boyle?
Generally positive.
Yeah.
He was definitely one of the best priest characters I've ever seen. Because, like, they fall into that specific niche of being kind of crazy, actually, and being very overbearing.
I literally just read a book that, like, references something like that. It's so funny that you're saying that right now.
It's so common that my first
Yeah,
thoughts
it's a very
really were
common
like,
trope.
yeah, we're like, okay, high likelihood that you're gonna turn out crazy.
Yeah, and it was really funny how Lineage played on the fact like, oh, crazy priest trope, and then later it was like, nah, I'm fucking with you. I just wanted you to not like me while I died.
Man, he sure
Like, thanks, Uehara, Jesus Christ.
he sure had some interesting faces though.
Yeah, those were some funny sprites.
And then it just ended on he was just like, okay, out of the system. Bye.
God. Oh man.
He was very fun to have around though, because for one, his out of touchness, but also he's very curious about things he shouldn't be curious about as a priest.
Literally. The gambling thing, for instance, is so fucking funny to me.
So yeah, good boyo.
As someone who's like been exposed to Catholicism for like most of my life, it's not my thing, but like I'm at least informed about it because I've been around it so much. Seeing just one, he's a Catholic priest. Let's just put that out there. And two, seeing him go against just most of the expectations of like a Catholic priest just kept taking me out while seeing him on screen because I'm like, that's against your vows. What are you doing? Like, what do you mean that interests you? It shouldn't. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh my god. He's funny though.
Yeah, and a very interesting choice for a double murder guy.
Oh, this is an interesting fact about him. Kinji has a gender-neutral sort of atmosphere.
I mean, I can imagine it.
I can see it, honestly. Like, looking at him and like, thinking back to how he carries himself. Yeah, that scans. Oh, this is funny. One of Kinji's hobbies is watching movies, but since he doesn't know how to use a computer, he always goes to the theater to see them. He likes thrillers, crime dramas, and noir movies, and doesn't like action movies. Okay, buddy.
Good taste.
You have good taste. I'm just, wow.
Does he like Catholic horror?
I don't see that on here. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I have to. This one's. I'm only going to read this one because it's funny that the priest has this one out of everyone else on cast. Oh my god, okay. Kinji is a high school student in his prime, so he must have seen a lewd video before. He would have been interested. Please! What do you mean? See, this goes back to the thing I was fucking talking about like, you're a Catholic priest, what are you talking about? There's certain things you can and can't do. What do you mean? Goes against your fucking...
Man,
Okay.
he must have been interested in the third... Ah, no, he didn't see it. Oh man, he didn't even see the porn video.
You know what now? I have a headcanon now that the reason that the snuff film was there was like that was the backup for Uehara to see if they weren't going to ask him to move yet.
Oh my god.
Was they were probably gonna show him that instead. Okay. I have one more. And it kind of links to Teruya, but it's very important to Kinji, and I mentioned this when we were playing SDRA too. Why does Teruya like the Lance of Longius? Lance of Longius was the name of Kinji's skill in the previous game. It can be seen as a gift symbolizing Kinji. Since Kinji was his classmate, Teruya might have thought of him while seeing this gift. Yeah. I was surprised we actually pulled that one as many times as we did.
Gotta have good luck somewhere.
Yeah, it's a rare drop item. That's what's funny about it. Okay, so we have Yamaguchi, Inori, Mikako, and Yamato. Let's do either Yamaguchi or Inori first.
Which one?
Hard to tell because maybe Inori first, ladies first.
Okay, I love her. Yeah. Okay, it's no secret. Inori is one of my favorites on the entire cast. I love her to death, and I am still devastated about what happens. Trio 3 kills me, actually. Every time I think about it, I am emotional. You cannot... Nah, I'll go into that when I talk about Yamaguchi. I think her backstory is actually really interesting. It's a shame that we actually don't hear much about it until FTEs, though. Because, or we actually learn more of it in SDRA 2 than we do in DRA at all, which I think is crazy. And even in 6.5, we hear about it then, too. It's like, why are we waiting this long to hear about Kanata? Like, there were things about her that we learned throughout all the games, but, like, not while she was on screen. So I thought that was an odd choice, but I guess it was to properly tie her to other cast members that weren't initially involved, I suppose. But I like her. I thought she was sweet. I definitely have a bias in performance, though. Like, I can only hear Kanata as you now. I cannot hear any other performance of Kanata and think that it's Kanata. No, I can only hear your performance of Kanata and be like, that is Kanata Inori. That is Kanata Inori. It's yeah, and I thought your voice choice for her was very good. I really, really love her. I love how caring she is towards the rest of the cast. I love how she, Uehara, and Yamaguchi kind of, like, were mediators together, not so much as separate entities, but, like, at the same time. I liked that they sort of worked together to try and mediate the group when possible. I feel like it probably wouldn't have held as much water if it was just one or the other. And I like that that parallel specifically calls to the flashbacks about how close they are. I think that was well incorporated. However, I would have liked to see more of my girl and hear more information about her that wouldn't have been given past her screen time.
That's a mood. That's a mood.
Because there's just things I would have liked to see of her before she, left us. And the fact that we learned so much of it after the fact, I don't know, it feels sloppy to me. I don't know how else to explain it. How do you feel about the girl ever?
She is a very good girl. But
yeah, I love her.
Whenever I see her, I'm just like, man, I want to see more of you. Because that's really the first thought I have whenever I see her. She's such a good girl, and she had more potential than that, I think. One thing that probably also contributes to it is because usually in chapters you can tell a little who are likely candidates to die,
Yeah.
Because they are relevant suddenly.
Yeah, they're more relevant than they used to be.
Yeah, you get more info about them, more backstory, they are more involved to doing more things and stuff like that. But with her and Yamaguchi, I didn't feel that at all in Chapter 3. And that is kind of what I'm missing, because I'm like, hello, I want to see more. Where is the spotlight?
I think the point of the reason why Lineage did that actually was because he wanted it to hurt more. Like, he wanted the player to hurt more, because they were just snatched. Because a lot happened that chapter, the crime-wise, like, holy shit. Uehara just fucked up 4 people. 2 of them are dead. 2 of them are unconscious. One of the 2 was put in a fucking locker. Queen, God, I don't know how you endured that.
Uehara had a very long night.
He was on beast mode. What the fuck was he doing? Like, bro? Were you possessed? What happened?
He did not sleep. Not a wink.
Yeah, that boy did not sleep. There's no fucking way. I do not believe for a minute that he had any shut-eye. Because he even staged himself being injured near one of them. And just kind of chilled in the hallway. Like, no fucking way he fell asleep. I don't believe it. Yeah, no, I miss her. And I think part of the reason I do miss her so much is because we do not get enough. We don't get enough.
Do not get enough.
We get more afterwards, but that's still not enough for me. I wanted more of her. It's fine. In my head, her and Yamaguchi are in a well-off house, and they're married, and they're having their best life.
I mean, maybe in Tomodachi life someday.
Yeah.
If that happens, then I scream.
Okay. I do want to talk about Yamaguchi now. I love this boy. Initially, I wasn't sure how to feel about this boy when I first saw him. I was like, I don't know about you. And then I met him and saw his personality. I'm like, wow, you're amazing. And I saw his dynamic with the cast, and I was like, wow, I really, really like you, actually. And I saw how cute and connected that he is with Kanata and Uehara, and I'm like, that's really sweet. That they're a little trio of friends, and I appreciate that. The little cliques are forming. And then you have to rip my heart out with chapter 3, where he dies saying her name because he doesn't want her to die. But I don't know if I can forgive you for that, personally, because that's still, I still think back to that and want to cry, because the last fucking thing he says is her name, dude. I'm not okay. He tries to save her, and then gets bopped. And the last fucking thing he says as he's dying is her fucking name. I can't do this, man. God, I love them.
The tragic trio.
Yeah, and even in flashbacks, like, you saw how close they were, and how they worked together, and how they would look out for each other and stuff, and I just, they make me so fucking emotional. I also do feel like we needed to see more of him, though. Like, we did see a lot of him, we saw a lot in his FTEs, but even after that, like, his relevance just kind of stops after chapter 3. He's not brought up again. To my knowledge, the only time he's referenced after that is his sister, which we'll get to her later, but, like, yeah. His relevance just kind of pitters off.
Yeah, that really is true. I also like the boyo.
I like him a lot.
I also liked all the contradictions, so to say, in his character design. Like, big buff guy who is a lawyer, who is very shy, but suddenly
his moe points.
But he also isn't, like, too shy to speak up, so to say, when he needs to.
Yeah, it's good. I love it.
I also really liked his relationship with Inori. It was all very, very good. But yeah, he also suffers from exactly the same stuff as his little girlfriend, in that he did not get proper spotlight that victims usually get. And yeah, then he only really is relevant through his sister, which secondhand stuff is still not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough for me. I will read facts about both of them. There's a shared fact here. If the 79th class had a normal school life, Kanata and Kakeru may have become a couple. Ugh, Linus, don't do that to me! If Kanata had survived, she would have remained small, unlike Teruya. Understandable, she's fucking tiny. When Kanata isn't wearing her coat, she usually wears baggy, comfortable clothing like sweaters or knitted tops. That's cute. Yeah. That's a cute mental image, actually. That's adorable.
No, I see her in, like, ugly Christmas sweaters.
Yes. Both Kanata and Kinji have extraordinary thought processes, but Kanata's timid personality led her not to take an active role in trials. Kinji lacks book smarts, the book smarts Kanata has, but he's both very well spoken and can easily read a person's mood. Yeah, he does have a lot of emotional intelligence. Hikaru Ando also had a son and a daughter. Kanata is younger than his son, but older than his daughter, so she's essentially the middle child. He has a good relationship with her adopted siblings. Oh, that one's sad. Kanata's death would have been very painful because an electric shock was routed through water rather than being direct! Don't tell me this! It hurts me. Oh my god, she didn't know that Kinji was the one who killed her either. Ugh! I'm gonna look for Yamaguchi now, I can't do this to myself. Where's Kakeru's? Okay. Man, boy's smart. Ranked 4th on his test scores.
Nice. I mean, you have to be smart to be a lawyer.
Yeah. Favorite kind of donut is a standard Krispy Kreme donut. Okay, understandable. Basic, but understandable.
All donuts are good donuts.
All donuts are good donuts. Oh my god, this one's good. Have Kanata and Kakeru ever flirted before? A little. Even if they did, I don't think the two of them would have even known that it was romantic.
Accidental flirting.
It fucking happens. Okay, I think that's all of the ones that are interesting with that I have already covered. Or haven't already covered, yeah. You want to do Mikako next?
Yeah.
And then we'll do Kisaragi and then the survivors.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, there's a reason, I'm gonna be honest, that our, oh my god. There's a reason that, our fucking running joke for our playthrough was, "Go girl, give us nothing." Because as much as I love her, honestly, when it comes to her writing, and this is unfortunate because Linus says she is one of his favorites, and I if that was the case, bro, where's her writing? But, she suffers from plot character syndrome, which basically means she is a character that exists for plot and only plot, and nothing really comes out of it, honestly. I wouldn't say she's flat, but she's not investive enough to be very, very interesting, if that makes sense. Like, she's very forgettable. I think she had potential, but the problem is that it was not properly explored in a way that was, like, relevant enough to the rest of the games. And a lot of the stuff you learn about her and her connection with, Kokoro and just her fucking background is, like, in the background. So far in the background that if you're not looking for it, you miss it. Which I think is a detriment to her writing. It sucks, because I really did like her, but the problem is she's cardboard. Or girly, because I would have really liked to see more out of her. What do you think of girl?
She probably would have really... she probably would have really benefited from, like, doing, you know, like a Komaeda thing in Chapter 4, where suddenly she is the protagonist for a while. Seeing things from her point of view, her thoughts about the other people. Because she was so limited by plot. Like, this isn't, like, just a matter of not being able to talk, because I mean, usually mute people can communicate otherwise.
Yeah.
And still can get their points across and all that. But
I remember that was genuinely just a side effect of the memory device thingy, like that, like in order for her to keep her memories, that it caused like mental problems in those regards with communications. I already didn't love that as a plot device. I thought that was meh, but I understand that that's the reasoning, but also it really weakened her character.
Yeah, I must also say that I found the difference a bit jarring between her current self and like her past self. Even if it is like understandable, it kind of made me more confused on her character than ever, actually.
Yeah, even though it was the result of like like in order to keep memories, like because of the machine, it's a night and day difference. They are not the same person. Like they are the same person, but they are absolutely not, if that makes sense.
Though, taking the confusion about her actual personality out, I do generally have positive feelings about her, because I was quite interested in her over the course of the game. Though Chapter 5 did let me down by a lot of stuff, like she didn't even properly kill someone that was a lot of bullshit. So much bullshit.
Yeah, I know. It was just a plot twist thing, but that's what I meant by the fact that she literally suffers from plot character syndrome. Like, that is the main problem with her writing, is she suffers from plot character syndrome. Is like, yeah, you want to be interested in her, but the fact is that, like, most of what Laneige did with her was plot only, and, like, didn't really dig into her more until, like, backstory regarding Kokoro and whatnot. Even then, by that point, she's not on screen anymore. So then it really impacts your ability to mesh regarding her. Oh, I don't know.
Though generally I found her interesting, and I did like really voicing her. And
yeah.
And her basically turning a bit mean in Chapter 5 was fun.
Yeah. They need to give you unhinged characters more often to voice. I keep ending up with a lot of them just because I like them too, but I just, oops.
And now I also really like the moments she had shortly before she died with Mekaru.
Yeah, that was really good. A lot of people actually ship them because of that.
Interesting, I haven't thought about it yet.
Yeah, the other thing is, the height difference. Mikako's much taller than her.
Okay, I am listening.
Yeah. A lot of people actually tend to be more interested after I tell them that detail. I see it. Like, I see it as, like, an angst sort of thing. I also like the idea of Akane with Mekaru, too, because I also like that mean girl / bullied girl dynamic. At least with those two, I think it would be tasty. But yeah, for the potential Yuri options in this game, those are the only two I really care about, honestly, for DRA anyway. I got some Mikako facts, because, of course, Laneige only drops Mikako lore in background facts or in Q&As, and not anywhere important. Thanks, Laneige. Thanks for telling us at all, anyway. Mikako cried a lot when she learned Kizuna was dead. That sucks. Sorry, girly. I'm gonna rehash this point for anyone who may have not watched our playthrough and is only coming here for the opinions. This is a direct answer from Laneige himself, and it is directly translated. Kako and Yamato are childhood friends. In parentheses it says, there is a misconception in the Western fandom that they are adopted siblings due to the Western versus Eastern differences in adoption culture. They're actually in a situation similar to Fuyuhiko and Peko, sharing a house and growing up together. So they're not adopted at all. It's throwaway child situation that I mentioned in Chapter 5 when we were playing. Yeah, it's just that. That's actually written in here. Let me see if there's anything else interesting. Oh my god, girl! When Mikako goes to the buffet, she eats 4 or 5 plates. Girl!
Okay.
She can put it away, holy shit!
Very fast metabolism.
Yeah. She can cook simple meals and prepare a bento box. I mean, she made donuts and tried to share with the class. That doesn't surprise me. She was active on social media before the killing game. Girl, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Can you imagine her participating in discourse?
Oh my god. I can imagine her being like an Instagram type of girl with like photo shoots. With like her exorcisms and shit. That's what I imagined.
Making selfies.
Ooh, this one's interesting. Yeah. This is interesting. If Yamato had been the blackened and Mikako had been the victim, he would have desperately tried to tell the truth, but it would have been gibberish because his ability to speak properly had not returned yet. Damn. That would have been an interesting trial, though, too. Honestly. But seeing if there's anything else. Oh, there's one about, her and Mama. This is a long one. If Kokoro met Yamato and Mikako in the afterlife, Kokoro wouldn't care about Mikako, while the both of them wouldn't recognize her, due to Mikako losing her childhood memories. Kokoro deems Mikako a failed experiment, so she doesn't care about her. If they found out about what Kokoro did to Mikako, they would both get mad. Yamato more so than Mikako. Of course he would. He's a very protective type. It honestly makes sense. Let's see if there's anything else. I just rehashed that one. And a lot of people ask that question, like, in a few different ways, and it's mostly the same answer. Yeah, here's that one that I was mentioning. Among the characters who you created, who was your favorite, or the one you're most attached to? Goes without saying, but I cherish all of my characters, even if there are minor differences in affection. These are the characters created by my hands. But if I had to choose, it would be Mikako. Which shocks me, because, bro, you didn't give us any information about her for the longest time. Yeah, so she is his top favorite of all time, but I know his favorite in 2 is Iroha. So, like, he likes his women. Understandable. Let's talk about Yamato now.
Oui.
Man's had potential. He did, okay? A lot of what made me like him was actually the flashbacks and things. It's unfortunate we had to even wait that long to get that sort of information and, like, to see that stuff for him, because I feel like a lot of things that we could be doing to connect to Yamato and could be doing to understand him better and, like, attach to him were, like, robbed from us for the sake of the fact that it was plot related. He also suffers from some plot character nonsense as well. Not as badly as Mikako, because he's a little more present near the end of the game, but, like, we see so little of him that it's hard to actually remember things about him or remember his relevance. Even though the game takes a similar stance like it does with Utsuro in basically saying, yeah, he's relevant always and always relevant. And it's like, yeah, but where is he?
Yeah, that's a mood.
Because it's like, we see tons of him in the flashbacks, fine, because we're learning all of that information at the back, but I guess this is more of just a gripe from me towards Danganronpa's general writing style, where it just info dumps on you at the end, so it doesn't really give you time to process the information. I've always kind of had that issue with Ronpa medias in general, whether it's fangens or canon or anything else. Like, hell, basically all of the canon information from Kodaka's Rampas are no longer in my brain just because it was very forgettable for me, but that's just a me thing. I like fan Rampas better just because I feel like they're not limited by a lot of what the gaming media can even do over in Japan, since they have so many censorship laws. But yeah, I would have liked to see more of Yamato, because I feel like if he's so important to the entire class, I would have liked to see more of that instead of having to wait until the end to see how he gets through the Kinjo and to see how he gets through to everybody else, and to only see it through flashbacks. I think we were robbed, is my point.
Mood, same. Absolutely. Yamato was for his importance so little in the game that I think that I barely have a lasting opinion of him.
Yeah, exactly.
I do remember doing his free time events, since those were the only ones we could do during the game. And those were fun, but it also isn't representative of who he actually is, considering the state he was in.
Yeah, exactly. It shows a very specific side of him that isn't, like, a good reflection of who he is. It shows, like, his apprehension of the situation and the fact that, like, oh shit, I'm talking to Yuki, who basically put them all in this situation in the first place. Oh, he says he's good now, so maybe things are fine, but I'm also still apprehensive and don't trust anybody. Shit, I need to talk to Mikako, but I don't know how, because we have this conversation problem at the moment, and then he dies. And then we see things in flashbacks. I wanted to see more out of him.
So much potential. Man, you could have, like, I don't know, haunted the narrative or something, considering the amount of importance he has.
I know! And the other thing was, like, I thought it was at least neat that he came back during Trial 6 as, like, an AE or whatever, but at the same time, like, it was so brief. I wanted to see more of him, because it made me like him a lot. Like, how much he was interjecting and going against the run of the story in order to counter what Utsuro was doing. I did appreciate that as, like, a narrative setup standpoint, but the problem is he just did not have enough screen time. We did not have enough time with him.
Absolutely. Way too little time. So much potential, so little time.
Yeah. Alright. So, I think we should do Teruya first. And then we'll figure out if we're doing Kinjo or Mekaru for the last survivor before we bleed into... Well, we still have to cover Monokuma too, actually. Monokuma is Monokuma. I appreciate Lenuja's Monokuma more than canon, but other than that, he's just Monokuma.
Yeah, he just is Monokuma.
And I'll share that one fact I did again, since it also connects to Yamato. If Yamato had been present during Chapter 4, Mikako would have danced with him and Teruya would have had to dance with Monokuma. It's so fucking hilarious to me, honestly.
Man.
Let me see if there's any other interesting Yamato facts before we move on.
Dancing with Monokuma.
It's so funny. Supposedly a CG exists, but it's never been shown, and I want to see it so bad.
Man.
I want to see it drawn. Let me see if there's anything interesting about Yamato. I'm still looking. Yeah, there's that fact that I just shared. If Yamato had appeared before Chapter 4, he would have danced with Mikako, and Teruya would have been asked to dance with Monokuma and dance with him. So fucking funny.
Poor Teruya.
Teruya gets the short end of the stick all the time, but it's really funny. Like, I love my boy. I love my stupid little idiot child, but he's great. Yamato prefers dogs over cats. No one's surprised. Tsurugi and Yamato are best friends. Yamato and Mikako are childhood friends. Already covered that. Bird and his test scores. Damn, okay, smarty pants. No surprise there, ultimate inventor. Let's see. Oh no, I forgot about this. Shit, I forgot about this one. Oh my god, this is hilarious. Wait, okay. Yamato must have been dragged to the restroom at some point from the special function of his underwear. In parentheses, his underwear's item description states that there is an AI that will automatically drag the user to the restroom. Please!
What kind of inventions are you doing?
He's bored. Leave him alone. Okay, I got... I'll do two more. If Tsurugi's suicide plan had succeeded in Chapter 4, Monokuma would have killed Yamato. And if Yamato had survived, he would have been the head of the Kisaragi Foundation, and Tsurugi would have been his deputy chief. I actually have a full cast rendition of that. Like, I have, like, a list that shows what all of their positions would be for the whole cast. So, here's the breakdown. Tsurugi, as a present, is chief executive, but if Yamato was alive, he'd be chief executive, and Tsurugi would be deputy executive, or second in command if he had survived. Rei is data analysis, Teruya is the treasurer, Kiyoka is the active member / daredevil, that's an interesting one. Mitsuhiro is a combat assistant, Kizuna is a counter receptionist, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Ayame was scouting and reconnaissance, Kakeru's administration, yeah, that scans. Kanata's medical services, Kinji is negotiation and human resources manager, definitely fucking scans for him.
Yep.
Haruhiko's freight manager, Satsuki's welfare. Mikako would have been psychiatrist and PTSD treatment. That's interesting, considering her mother. Akane would have been head chef and janitor. And if Yuki was normal, he would have been a deputy executive.
Okay.
Yeah, like that would have been the Kisaragi Foundation layout. There's a picture somewhere that Linus drew of all of them in Kisaragi Foundation outfits, and then all of the dead cast members being gone, and then only showing Rei and Tsurugi. I'll send it to you later. It's a pretty nice piece. Yeah, it's very sad. Alright, we will talk about Teruya now.
Teruya.
I did not expect to like this boy. I thought I wasn't going to be able to stand him. I thought I wasn't going to like this one. I thought he was going to be really annoying because I have a thing. I don't love characters that are idiots. I kind of get annoyed by them very, 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 very quickly. But I enjoyed voicing Teruya so much and enjoyed what he brought to the table so much that I love this little shithead. I think his growth and development from between game 1 and 2 is really good, and I love how you can see it, especially if you played the first game first and then went to the second, or at least experienced them in order. I love that he goes from little baby man to holy fucking shit, you're a giant. I love that, like, he's very attached to his 2 remaining friends. I also love that basically because of that he kept his, like, social standing, like, for how much of a social butterfly he is, that he's basically important to the entire Kisaragi Foundation, and everybody likes him. And I think that's really sweet, because it shows you how connected he is with everyone, and that he's trying to still make Haru proud even after he passed, because that's very much how Haru used to be. Was he would connect with others, and he would be involved, and he would try to be there for them and be good. And I feel like Teruya grew in a way where he could make Haru and then his remaining friends proud in a manner to be like, look, I can handle myself, I can still do this. And it's just really nice to see. When I first went through SDRA, I didn't have any context of Teruya, so when I saw him die, I was like, oh man, that sucks. Didn't understand the emotional significance at the time, and I had gone through SDRA several times before going through it with Rina, and actually several times before ever touching DRA. So I didn't understand the emotional significance and just how fucking heart-wrenching it is that he died the way he did. So after going through DRA, and then going through the game for like the 8th or 9th time with Rina this time, I was like, holy shit, my chest hurts. Because the way he dies is so that his 2 best friends can come in and fix all this shit. And so that everyone else that's left in the killing game can get out, because there's no other option and he has to die to make it happen. And it really hurts. And I really appreciated that up until that point, that him and Iroha were pretty close and they were trying to be friends. And Teruya tried up until the end to still remain friends with her, even though she felt she didn't deserve it. Because she helped put him in that situation. And it's very emotional to me. And I feel like she didn't appreciate him enough even after his passing. It's understandable. She's written to be selfish because of how she was raised. Like, I get it. But it's still depressing if you think about it just from Teruya. There were moments in DRA, though, where Teruya did infuriate me. I was like, little boy, shut the fuck up. But, like, lovingly. It became lovingly over time because I was like, you're hilarious, but not now. And I really liked his growth just between the 2 games. I think it was very good. He's probably one of the most well-written characters in the series, but part of that is because he's had 2 games to show off that development. How do you feel about the boy?
He is such a good boy, and also my beloved pet dog.
I love that Iroha's next to him because, yeah. That's fucking amazing.
I also did not expect to like him this much. But, like,
yeah,
he had so many important moments in the first game, so much development, despite being such a small little stupid guy, that normally his type does not get so much attention at all.
Exactly.
And then, of course, there's the second game also, which only builds up on top of it, so... whew.
Yeah. God. I am still so sad about him dying, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's most definitely the most upsetting thing in the entire second game.
Because literally, I already knew what to expect, because again, I had gone through the game several times before going through it with you, and then trying to make sure you stay blind so that you can go through it and enjoy it. Oh my god, did it hit differently after DRA. Like, I have to say this, because I know a lot of people in Another's fan circle don't touch DRA and only go to SDRA. I implore you. Not because one game is better than the other or whatever fuck shit, like, I fucking hate that debate, let's not even go there. I implore you that if you have not gone through DRA, that you need to, at least once, and then look at SDRA again, because there are so many things that DRA gives you enough information for going in for you to be completely prepared for what SDRA gives you. And it doesn't weaken the writing or anything, but it does prepare you. And it does hit you differently emotionally when it does. And a great example of that is Teruya. Because it's not the same impact if you're going just through SDRA. You don't have that same potential connection to Teruya that you would if you had gone through DRA, understood his development. Certain scenes won't make sense to you, like the Tower of Babel won't make sense to you, and his reaction to Satsuki and Haru. His actions in Chapter 4 won't make sense to you if you haven't seen Kinjo's actions in Chapter 4 of DRA. You won't even know about Kinjo or anything regarding Kinjo, or, like, most of the beginning of SDRA when they're going to the island won't make sense to you because you've never seen DRA. Like, you would have been able to predict that he was already talking to Kinjo based on the fact that he already kind of mentioned indirectly that he was with Rei. Because you already have seen those characters, and you know that cast, and you know their connections.
That's my opinions of Teruya. I love him.
He is a very good boy. One who deserved better, but, well, he went out like a champ, at least.
Honestly, yeah. Hero's death. He is mentioned 222 times in this document. Excuse me?
Popular.
I am obviously not reading all of them. I am obviously not reading all of them, but let me try and find some good ones. I have to skim over these, though, so I'll kind of sort of ramble while I do this. Some of these I have already mentioned as well, just because they're connected to other characters. Oh my god, please, what? Teruya's drinking habits, crying and screaming. What a fucking fact about him, hello?
Oh no.
Teruya keeps his nails trimmed since it's annoying to organize items if they're long. Mood? Hello? That's hilarious.
Interesting.
Oh, so his... It's fucking hilarious. Teruya curses roughly as much as the others do. That doesn't surprise me, so me ad-libbing him saying fuck all the time works. Oh my god. Oh my god. I normally wouldn't say this one, but I'm gonna say it anyway, because it's really funny. He's always thinking like a merchant, so his favorite pornos are the ones that are highly scripted, in parentheses, roleplay. I'm gonna cry! I'm gonna cry! My boy! Likes to play simulator games like the Tycoon series. Understandable, so you like resource management things. Alright, let me look through. No dating experience, no surprise there. Of course you have poor grades, silly boy.
I mean, yeah.
Singing levels are average? I'm surprised. I thought they'd be terrible.
So he can serenade Mekaru if he tried.
He could make an attempt. Alright, most of these are specifically DRA facts, so I'm trying to get to the SDRA section, because there's a different section for both. Oh my god. Okay. Scroll.
Give me his section, please.
Teruya and Mikado hate each other in the same way, God bless you. If Mikado and Teruya were to argue, Mikado would win. Even though Teruya has grown up, he's still a fool. Yeah, as you should. Mikado and Teruya perceive each other as enemies, or maybe as disruptors. This is apparently a Yu-Gi-Oh reference, thanks. Mikado hates Teruya, this is no one's surprise. Mikado fought Teruya, the fire wasn't hot, and Teruya wasn't blown black, rather it was pressure rather than heat, so he just kind of blasted him off.
Yeah.
In the prologue. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeet.
Anything else here that's super interesting? Okay, I remember. I mentioned this one before, but I'll do it again. Rei and Teruya learned how to handle firearms from Tsurugi, and both can handle them well enough for self-defense. It's so scary to think of fucking Teruya with a gun.
Yeah, we had... The amount of it that we had was already scary enough.
I was just like, hello? Put that down. Put that down, boyo. Okay, this is funny to me. Teruya's physical abilities in SDRA 2 are average. Why is he stacked like that then, Laneige? Why did you give him abs? What do you mean his physical abilities are average when you built him like a fire truck? What are you talking about? I get it, like Kinjo has bigger tits, but Teruya has them too!
Lineage has interesting ideas about what average means.
Jesus Christ. Teruya tried to make an official Kisaragi Foundation uniform, but it was vetoed by Tsurugi and Rei. And if I remember right, the universal headcanon for this is he tried to make them just rainbow.
Of course.
And both of them were like, abso-fucking-lutely not.
Of course he would do that. He would. Absolutely.
Oh my god. It's so fucking silly. And then, the last one I'll give is, that Teruya canonically has feelings for Rei. Alright. Would you like to do the queen first, or are we bullying our favorite dude?
We can do the queen first.
Alright, queen time. So, controversial opinion. I like DRA Rei more SDRA Rei.
I mean, of course.
And a lot of people are gonna look at me and go like, what the fuck, why? I don't know. The best way I can put this is, I like how much snarkier she is in 1.
She's just spicy.
She softens by a lot in 2. And while I appreciate that development, I loved how much of a smartass she was in 1. And I miss it a little bit. She was, like, super important to the story. She was basically present for all of the big events. And then in 2, we barely see her. So there's that. So it's a mix of the fact that, like, she loses a lot of relevance in 2. Like, she does still have decent relevance to the story, but not enough to where, like, it leaves a meaningful impact. So I just feel like we lose out on a lot of Rei, and I don't love that because I wanted to see more of the queen. It's great that we saw so much of Teruya. However, I miss Rei, and I wanted to see more of her.
Yeah.
Alright, it's time for Rina to gush about her queen. Ready?
What can I say? Mekaru is exactly the type of woman I like.
That's so fucking valid of you.
I very much like bitchy, mean women, which are which aren't like, you know, hate things, which actually have like personality, and you are supposed to like them after a while. Those are my favorite types. Moi.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've always liked the mean girl types, which also inflict fear, admiration.
Yeah.
I mean, Regina George is a simple example, or like, of course, Heather Chandler from Heathers.
Yeah.
These are just I love. And also, these types of women have a lot of agency always, and I do like that.
Yeah, I loved that about her character, was like she took absolutely no shit, and she told you what her thoughts with no reservations whatsoever. She didn't let anybody tell her what to do. I loved that about her. And as hot as she is into, I don't know if I loved how much she changed.
They took the spicy out of her, but I don't dislike her for that. I do understand that it's a progress of like growing older and having friends now who are your equal.
Yeah. I remember a fun fact that Linus said, that the reason she actually grew softer is because of Teruya.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, and like, I appreciate that. I don't know. I guess I really miss initial queen, Little Queen. I miss Little Queen.
I want her to make fun of me.
Rena and I show our affections for characters in many different ways. Alright, let me see if I can find some pretty interesting Rei facts for you. Rei's greatest fear is the complete extinction of her existence. People forgetting she was ever there. Me! I also have that phobia. Thank you, girl. I understand. She's got no dating experience because no one's good enough for her, honestly.
Yeah.
She's in the science and engineering field. Good, as you should be. Oh my god. This is I'm reading DRA Rei's stuff first. If Rei were to trip in the middle of a busy street, her face would turn a bit red, and she'd glare at anyone who looked at her before getting up and going along on her way. I love her. She's so funny. Oh man. Let me scroll down a bit more. If there's anything from DRA Rei I want to say. Rei's ideal type is someone who is talented, so I guess that means that Teruya's in that pool.
I mean, he sure has talent.
Yeah. Tsurugi scored highest on Rei's personal evaluation before the killing game began.
But yeah, that opinion went down the drain.
Yeah. Oh my god. Rei drives much faster than one would expect to. If a car near her changes lanes without signaling, she engages in retaliatory driving.
She would. She absolutely would.
Girl! Don't crash the car. Kinjo will be so mad. She likes bears. We love that. Love that for her. We know she loves teddy bears. Okay, let me see if I can find her DRA section. Oh, you'll like this one. If Shobai and Rei were to get in an argument, it'd be extremely long. Rei hates to lose. Eventually, Shobai would think it was a waste of time and bow out. From the result alone, it seems Rei would win.
Oh.
Between Shobai and Rei, if only pure intelligence is considered, Rei would be considered smarter. However, Shobai has a lot of hidden tricks. That's fucking hilarious. The document won't freak on me. She's mentioned 100 times in here.
I mean, understandable.
Surprised that Teruya has more mentions than she does. She's a fan favorite too. Everyone thirsts for her. Here's her section.
Understandable as they should.
Yeah. Oh my god. This one's great. Rei doesn't see Teruya or Tsurugi as men, in the sense of interacting with them as women. However, there are times when she thinks they don't look bad. Girl!
Oof, and also win?
It's fucking funny. I'm gonna lose it. If Mikado had killed Teruya instead of Rei, she would have been upset as Teruya was, but still would have been sad. She wouldn't show her feelings, though. Of course she wouldn't. But of course she wouldn't. Tsurugi and Rei often quarrel with each other. Teruya isn't brainy enough to confront them, so he plays mediator.
I can see it.
Oh my god. So funny. After graduation, Teruya consciously began using more standard language, and Rei stopped yelling as frequently. Okay. Hold on. This one seems a little silly. The DRA survivors take a selfie. Teruya is always the one to take it. Neither Rei nor Tsurugi take selfies. So silly. Okay.
I mean,
Let's move on to Police Boy.
Yeah.
He has so many functions in this stuff. Jesus Christ. Okay. If you have watched our playthroughs, you already know what I'm going to say about this man. Or you should know what I'm about to say about this man. But if you haven't, or if you weren't paying attention, how the fuck do I start? This absolute motherfucking bastard ended up putting me through an emotional roller coaster of lifetime enemies to lovers, and I'm so mad at him still, because I didn't want to like him, but he ended up being one of my favorite fucking characters in this franchise, and I am still so fucking angry about it. How dare you? I hated you at the start, and you grew on me, and ended up sneaking up and being one of my favorites, you little absolute shithead? God damn it. And all of it is because of his writing specifically. It makes me so angry, because he's so well written, and I'm mad about it. He's like really infuriating with his choices, but unfortunately it's completely explained by his fucking writing. And he's one of the most well-written characters in the Another series in general, and it makes me mad, because I wanted to hate him and I can't! I like him, and it makes me cranky! I just sounded like Mekaru, so we're just gonna leave that alone. But yeah, I'm so mad. I'm so mad at him. How dare you fucking become one of my favorites? I'm so fucking angry! Why? Fucking shithead. Anyway, I'm done.
Welp.
Alright.
Good old Tsurugi. Anyone who knows me knows that I like shit stirrers in games like this. And well, what is Tsurugi? A shit stirrer. So, surprise, surprise, he is one of my favorites too. It may not always be noticeable, because I also love shitting on him.
Yeah, I love shitting on him too.
But he was very entertaining in all the right ways. It was so easy to make fun of him, so easy to talk about him, so easy to just have fun watching him, really. There is a reason why he showed up quite a bit on thumbnails, because the inspiration was too strong with this one.
Literally, he's fucking hilarious.
Man, we had the time of our lives watching him, so what can I say? Of course he ends up so home as one of the absolute favorites of mine, so... Dude!
Honest, and the other thing is his fucking combative chemistry with Akane was very juicy, and I appreciated it. It was very entertaining.
Yeah.
I loved it very much.
The slap was very nice.
Oh my god, that was so good. Also, just... I loved how foil they were, just the whole fucking across both games. And, like, I have to point this out, because, like, in SDRA 2, whenever Noji starts fucking, like, railing into Sora and threatening her, And then Kinjo saves her, but like in the most overkill way possible. Has to be survivor's guilt about the fact he didn't save Akane. I am fully convinced. He won't fucking ever admit that he regrets it. I know he won't. But oh my god, there's no other explanation for that. And the fact that he can't look at her in the face either, even whenever they leave. God! He's so fucking emotionally constipated.
Just a very fun guy to not be around in person.
A lot of people are very mixed about his development between 1 and 2. I understand why he went that direction. Because as I mentioned, even though he was starting to get his head back because he got his memories back, Utsuro fucked it all up. And then he went back on his initial ideals that he learned from Daddy-O. Oh, unfortunate, but that's what fucking happened.
By the way,
he has a... Yeah?
In my tier list of shit stirrers, I would put Tsurugi firmly in the let's just tie him up tier.
Amazing.
I would not try
he
to
deserves.
fix that. I would not try to. He is more entertaining when he's tied up and being fed stuff.
It's really funny that he actually fucking do, so that's hilarious.
I still can't believe our predictions came true.
God, that I loved that scene. The fucking clip of me going, time up, time up, time up, time up. Was because it was the best. Especially because Akane did it. There's so much fan art of that, actually. There's one, oh man, I can't remember the Korean artist's name, but there's one who drew like she like pinned him with her thighs like in place while she was tying him up, and one of his hands was on her thighs. It's really good, and it's like just a whole struggle, like she's trying to tie him up and he's just like, I accept my fate. It's fucking amazing. Like she is so done with his shit. Man, he has so many fun facts. A lot of it's about alcohol.
Why him
Tsurugi
and alcohol?
God, the PTSD, man. He doesn't fucking know how to deal with it, I guess. Tsurugi drinks, he'll seem to be doing fine before suddenly collapsing. You fucking whore. He's so brave, he isn't scared of horror movies or games. He just says, oh, to anything scary. He's completely fucking unfazed. Understandable. He doesn't drink often, but prefers strong alcohol. Has no dating experience. Gee, I can't imagine why. He can drink approximately 3 to 4 bottles based on soju. Soju is a 40 to 50 milliliter Japanese alcohol with an alcohol content of 17 to 21. For anyone who is unfamiliar with the drink or aged and doesn't know what the fuck that means. This one makes me laugh. Most handsome character in the DRA series is difficult to pick due to personal preferences, but Tsurugi is the only one whose handsomeness is commented on at work. God damn it. Oh, you actual blasphemous bastard. Tsurugi doesn't wear slippers at home, he just wears shoes instead.
Oh,
that is blasphemy for a Japanese man. What do you mean?
And also, what do you dirty shoes in your
Booty
home.
shoes. Tsurugi uses lotion after showering. You can't become a handsome man without proper management. God damn it. He's so vain. Tsurugi is good at doing household chores, including cooking, but isn't a master of anything. He's very fastidious, so he always makes sure his desk is tidy, even if he's busy. Of course you would.
I somehow
Tsurugi
feel like
did his own hair in chapter 4, and a fucking atrocity is what that is.
Yeah. I feel like he's being sold to us.
No.
With those facts.
Do you have any idea how many ask questions about Tsurugi and just how many answers that Lanús gave them? It's ridiculous.
I can imagine.
Okay. Wears gloves when he's working in the fields. Slut. He doesn't like sweets, but he likes sweet nuts and raisins. You have no fun ever. Family situation sucks. Oh, this one makes me emotional. Tsurugi dreamed of having a happy family when he was young, but due to his father's strictness, he gave up on that dream very early.
Oh man.
This one's funny too. Among the DRA characters, Nikei would get along the most with Tsurugi.
Alrighty then.
Tsurugi's second in his test scores, that doesn't surprise me. Of course, Rei would be first.
Likes both dogs and cats.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the DRA section now. Further down. For facts. Everything I was reading was specifically DRA Tsurugi. I have they split them between both games. Okay. The DRA survivor group has nightmares sometimes. Tsurugi's PTSD is the worst among them. That is no one's surprise.
Yeah.
Is there anything else interesting for DRA Tsurugi though? Wait, I think I saw something for Haru. Yeah, this one. Tsurugi thought of Haruhiko as a troublemaker in DRA and thought he was kind of annoying. Now that everything is, Teruya would have changed Tsurugi's mind and he will be missed with the other members of Class 79. Okay.
Now we can move to SDRA.
Okay, we're starting with the love of my life.
Alrighty.
Because of course we are. I love Sora so much. And I have to correct everyone when people are under the fucking impression Sora and Akane are the same character. That is not the case. I don't know if it's because people aren't reading closely enough, but that's not it. Akane dead. Akane's dead. Really dead. Brain dead. Their body's alive. That out of the way. The Akane that you see in SDRA basically was part of Sora's core algorithm in a based off of her personality. Talk to her. And it kind of poked Akane's brain deadness in order for them to talk, basically. A lot of what Sora is she is based off of the memories and past of Akane, but she is not Akane at all. They are different entities. Because Sonoji made her from scratch. That being said, she is my favorite protagonist of the two games, but that's no one's surprise because I fucking hate Yuki. I feel like the meaning of SDRA is lost on a lot of people. It feels like Akane and Sora are going through and regaining their agency when they had initially lost it with being under Utsuro for so long. Which I feel was thrown away with the finale. Fucking hate the end of chapter 6. I do not think that's how it should have ended. I think that was some bullshit. Yeah, I love Sora's personality. I love her connections to the rest of the cast. Her dynamic with Sonoji is my favorite ever. And then I also like her dynamic with Nikei and with Setsuka. I think it's really good. And Hajime. Those are my favorite dynamics. I like them a lot. They're very good. Stuff. How do you feel about my wife?
I thought that she was a very fun protagonist.
She's amazing.
I mean...
Yuki doesn't hold a candle.
I mean, I generally rather sweet on female protagonists just for the fact that, one, they are rare, and two, holy shit, a female protagonist. But Sora's whole personality, deal, development, and all that, that's some good shit right there, really.
Yeah.
I love her deadpanness, but still making jokes and being sarcastic and stuff, but in the way she teases people, it's immensely entertaining.
Yeah.
And we
love her so much.
And yeah, the whole taking back your agency and all that, that good shit. So a lot of good shit.
I felt like it was basically the whole point of her character was retaining her agency. Only for Yuki and Utsuro to fucking ruin the pacing of that. Sorry, I'm still mad and will remain mad because I think it was so unnecessary. It's a disservice to her. Mistreat my girl like that. Alright, of course I got fun facts about my girly pop. On a scale of 1 to 10, Sora's strength is about a 9 because she can break an apple with just her hand. Akane can too. They have the same physical prowess. I'll keep that in mind. Like, basically, Sora is modeled after Akane. They're just not the same fucking person. They're two different people. Currently, Sora is heterosexual. However, I will put this in air quotes. Later, Laneige went back and changed all of the casts of both games to be read as unlabeled, basically so you can protect what you wanted on them. Because he saw that people were fighting about it. So, basically all of the casts you can perceive how you wish when it comes to that. But initially he had answered this question and it was on there, but later it changed for all of the casts because he saw that there was tension and people were arguing and yeah. It was dumb. After completing Shobai's FTE, Sora gave up on ever trying to be close with him. Makes me sad. If Setsuka, Yoriko, and Sora were to paint their nails, they would paint them the image of their image colors, sky blue, hot pink, and white, respectively. When Shinji passed out at the end of Chapter 1, Sora and Setsuka were the ones to carry him away. I mean, yeah, she's a tower house. Sora owns many of pairs of other people's underwear and thinks nothing when she sees him. You're ace! You have to be!
I mean... yeah.
When Sora, Yoriko, and Setsuka eat ramen, Sora and Yoriko put ordinary things like egg and cheese on it, while Setsuka puts things like Tabasco sauce on hers to tease others. Girl! What are you doing? You're so fucking silly. At the end of Chapter 3, Sora is closest with Yoriko and has a normal relationship with everyone else except for Shobai and Mikado, who she isn't close with. Listen. It's still juicy. I like Sora and Mikado together, and no one can argue with me about it.
That's what fandom is for.
Yeah!
Oh, yeah, this one. I think I've told you this one before, but it's nice. If Sora became Shobai's assistant, he'd take good care of her, just as he tends to take good care of clients. His work is on-off, and he's actually very respectful to his customers and collaborators. The phrase 100% reliability didn't come from...
But he'd look after her and make sure she's well taken care of.
Yeah.
I love them. Very good.
I want to see if there's one for Setsuka that mentions Sora. Or with Hajime. Oh. In Chapter 3, Sora accidentally hits Monocro when he advises her. Some cases of violence aren't counted as rule violations because it's funny. My girl.
The funny rule.
How Nikei would react if another person openly showed interest in him. Surprisingly, he might feel embarrassed because he's not used to people being interested in him. He had that feeling to some extent during his final free time event with Sora. Yeah, that was obvious that he's in. Oh, this one's important. I've been wanting to share this one. Oh, go back. I scrolled too fast. A lot of people think that post-game that they would all hate each other, but here's the thing. Sora and Mikado were in a world of nothingness without Utsuro. I'd like to see what would happen. Sora would probably ignore Mikado, but does Mikado hate Sora? If everything was the same as the main story ending, but there was no Utsuro, Mikado may be hateful at first, but they'd both lose their feelings long. This ending ended and there's nothing left to hate, so they'd eventually be, like, friends. And I appreciate that, and that's what's canon in my head, that eventually Utsuro corrupts and he's not fucking there anymore.
Be gone, evil.
Be gone, Thoticus, no one wants you here. If you could do free time events with Sora, she would like the gifts Americano and various clothing. She would love the maid uniform gift. Of course she would. So this was a development question. Are you, Lunash, air quotes, still using your voice for Sora? Yes, I think I'll be using my voice until it's over, thank you. Yeah, because in fact, his voice is recorded as hers and then put through a voice changer in order to make it higher.
That's the Japanese one, or what? Huh?
That's the Japanese one, yeah, the original.
Wow.
Yeah, that's him, that's his voice.
I did not notice.
Well, you wouldn't, because he put it through a voice changer.
Yeah, but even with a voice changer, you can often tell that something feels artificial or off about it.
Yeah. I think it's funny.
Mm.
Pretty great. Okay. I hesitate to say if I want to get Yoriko out of the way right now. Yeah, I think I do. I think I want her out of the fucking way so I never have to think about her again. Are you fine if we do Yoriko next? So I can just not think of her anymore? Okay, awesome. Okay. So my thoughts of Yoriko are no fucking secret because I have been very vocal during the playthrough, but I actively despise her more than most any other character on the SDRA2 cast. With the reason being that her writing is really weak, she feels like just an echo chamber for the player and Sora, and I tested this with my friends once because, as I said, I've been through this game a few times. You can ignore everything she says, Chapter 5 onward, and still follow the story. Without any confusion whatsoever. You can just skip all of her dialogue and still be fine.
Oof.
She basically is just padding. And just like, if I'm gonna be honest, I don't... Again, Lina's changed it to where you can see any of these characters how you wish, but like, I feel like she feels a bit queerbaity, in my opinion. Like, just Yuri for the sake of like audience engagement, which I've never really cared for that either. Because the thing is, she could have been good. Her character's really flaky and wishy-washy, though. Like, they didn't commit to, how to portray her as, are you gonna stay mean girl, or are you going to be tsundere that's actually well written? Because there were moments where she was just either gaslighting Sora, or there were moments where she was being overbearing, or there were moments that it felt like she was pulling away from the story and I just didn't care about what she wanted to say because I was more focused on the narrative or what was going on with Sora or the other cast and not her. And a lot of the time it just felt like she was like interjecting for no reason. And I don't think that her portrayal as hostess for like that specific career was done in a way that was a good example of it. Because I'm familiar to a point as someone who's like looked into it, not as someone who's gone into the industry or like seen any of those establishments, but like I've researched enough to where like, yes, the whole point of host or hostess is to, you sit people down, you sit with them, and you get them talking so long as they keep buying drinks. Yeah, I understand that maybe you'll pick up occasional things, but a lot of what she was giving to the trials and to just idle chatter and trivia just seemed so out of left pocket because there were moments where, like, she'd say those things and you'd be like, oh, maybe she's a smart character. And then you'd get moments in the trial where she's just dumb as nails. It just wasn't consistent. Her writing was sloppy and shit, and she's really annoying to me. I don't like her. And also, a lot of her fans I've run into have been jerks. And yeah, maybe I shouldn't, like, throw that into the mix because, yeah, fans can ruin things. But, like, in general, like, I had already disliked her before engaging with any other fans for the reasons I've already stated. It's annoying. She's annoying to me. I don't like her. I don't think she really contributed anything to the story whatsoever, and she should have stayed dead in Chapter 5, in my opinion. She should have died.
Well, what can I say to that, but except, well, she could have been a lot. I definitely want, like, a Danganronpa game with a female protagonist and, like, a female rival.
Mm-hmm.
like, or female shit stirrer, something along those lines, because I live for the rival to lovers Yuri. I live for it.
That's the thing, she's not written well enough to be considered that, in my opinion. If they went meaner with her, I might have liked her more. Or if they kept her consistent and mean, she had potential to be really good. But how she's portrayed now and just during the game it's garbage to me. I'm sorry. Like, that's not it. That's not it if you're trying to go for Toxic Yuri. Like, you gotta go darker. You gotta go harder. You gotta be consistent.
Yeah,
she's too flip-floppy.
The real problem with her is really that they absolutely didn't do anything. Even like the Tsundere stuff was kinda whatever to me, because there was no sense of progression for it. She was like getting all blushy and all that after such a short time that it didn't feel earned, really.
That's also why I mentioned the queerbaity stuff, because it felt queerbaity for the exact reason you're explaining. I just didn't explain it well, but yeah, it just felt like that was being there for shrugs to keep viewer engagement.
It was just... she existed, there was no character development, and over the course of the game I was more like, that sure doesn't make sense. Like, you know, her being a counselor of all things and then still behaving like that.
Yeah, like, her character doesn't make sense at all. Like, the hostess thing and the counselor thing doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit her whatsoever.
Yep.
It just felt like that, like, Lina's just picked something and then kind of threw it together. And I know he does better writing than that, so that's what disappoints me about her, is because she has the potential to be good. He can write evil women. He wrote Kizuna, and he wrote Kanade, and he wrote Kokoro. He can write evil women. So why did he not do that for her?
Even if
it's like he couldn't figure out if he wanted her to be evil or if he wanted her to be supportive. So it was like just a bunch of, I don't know.
Very unspectacular best friend trope for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh god, you could have been so interesting. We could have had Toxic Yuri together with you, but...
Literally.
Yeah, so my opinion is meh.
So here's two facts here. Yoriko is probably bisexual, no one's surprised, considering how she interacts with Nikei. And Yoriko likes her as a friend, but isn't sure if she likes her as more than a friend. I don't know, there's a lot of queerbaity shit in there. Is there anything else that interests me enough to even say it out loud? Yoriko and Emma don't eat a lot, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, none of the rest of what I'm seeing here is even interesting. So, you want to move on to Yuki? I want to get him out of the way too.
Alrighty. By the way, if you want more interesting female character interactions with a female protagonist in terms of Danganronpa the After does a very good job in chapter 1.
Yeah, Chisa's very, very good.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I'm mostly caught up on it. I just, been going through it with some friends too, and, you know, our mutual friend translates it, so I get to see all of it pretty early.
Same. I have also started chapter 3.
Yeah, chapter 3 is good. Okay, so, why are you here, Yuki Maeda? What was the point of you? Because honestly, through the whole fucking game, all you did was whine and bitch and moan and slowly get possessed by Tutsuro. What the fuck? Why are you here? Just to make us suffer? Why? You didn't do much. There were moments where he had, like, good trial moments. I will give him that. He's not a complete fucking loss. And there are moments where he has a little fucking more agency and intrigue than fake Yuki does. I'll give him that too. However, he still irritates the shit out of me. But if I had to choose between him and Yoriko, I would take him any day. I'm gonna be honest. And I don't have much to say about Mr. Tuki Maeda here. I don't care for him. I think he's really boring.
Yeah, he got his own, very own category, which is like the character, not the plot. He was so cursed by plot. It's incredible. So cursed by really bullshit plot. And like, I don't mind at all that he is basically the game's punching bag and that he doesn't like have a lot of agency over the course of the game. Sometimes that can be the point, like Virtue Evermore, where the protagonist only gains agency in the true route. Like, that's that sort of thing. I can definitely like that. But the Utsuro has cursed you so bad, boy. Though I must say that my opinion definitely changed much more for the better for him once they really made it clear that he has absolutely nothing to do with the actual Utsuro and Yuki, that he's his own complete person, that he's really just a normal guy they picked off the street and then lobotomized.
So here's the fucking thing with him, right? The backstory really is that, you know the parents, like his parents being murdered in one? Those are actual Yuki Maeda's parents that Utsuro murdered, and then he took his place, and they basically put him on life support while they infiltrated DRA's Hope's Peak. Then, later, is when he got, taken off of life support by, you know, Shobai, and got, like, kidnapped, and then they removed his brain and then hooked him up, and he's just 1,500 grams of meat now. So yeah, he is literally just a dude and a victim of circumstance. That doesn't make his whining any less annoying. I can just tolerate him a bit more than Yoriko, because at least he has a fucking reason to whine, and at least he tries while whining. I can excuse a man for whining. I specifically mean fictional men, by the way, because I just get annoyed with whiny fictional men. Let me clarify before people get angry at me. But I can excuse a whiny fictional man if they're actually trying to do some shit while whining. And he did try, even though he didn't try much, he tried. And I'm that way with whiny characters in general. I don't care if you whine. Just put some effort in. Fuck. That's all I care about. Put some fucking effort in. And then just whine about it and then do some shit, okay? That's all I gotta ask. Yeah, we're gonna segue into Tutsuro just because it's connected. Why the fuck are you here? Why did Mikado do this? Why? No one needed you. You didn't need to come back. Why the fuck are you here? Go away. We thought we were done with you. Why are you back? And then you're a whole bitch to Sora about it. And like, you're ungrateful to Sora and Akane. I'm so tired of you. Go away.
I see you didn't even put him here in the chart.
It doesn't give me a difference between Utsu and Tutsu, unfortunately. That tier list does not, because I guess it considers them one entity, but they're technically different. They are technically different characters. What a lot of people don't understand is Tutsu is just like he is an AE version based off of the idea of Utsuro, specifically based off of Mikako and Yamato's memories of him. That's why he's not as much of a dick as actual Utsuro, because he's been softened by the perspectives of other people. Because he's not actually Utsuro. It's fucking confusing, and I don't know why Laneige did this, but you know what? There. You got two Yukis, you got two Utsuros, and then you got Akane and Sora, and all 6 of them are different fucking characters, but for some reason people argue about this shit all the time. But anyway, yeah, I just don't fucking care about the Utsuro Yuki shit, if I'm honest. I think it's such a weird, weak plot nonsense. Kudos to everyone who likes those 4, but I sure as fuck do not care about them.
Yeah, my only thought about Tutsuro is really... Go away, please. Why is this the plot? Why? I do not like this plot. I do not care for it. Go away.
Yeah, you're just like, why are you here? This is about women's empowerment and regaining their agency. Why the fuck are you here? Go away.
I mean, to be fair, he did actually play a rather little role, considering how obsessed everyone is with him in the second game. But still, I do not want to see him.
don't want to see him, and I don't think he's necessary. I wish the plot went something different instead of reincorporating him. I think it was wasted potential. It would have been nice to do something else instead of doing that, I guess, is probably my best way of thinking it. But thinking back on it, I think part of the reason Lineage actually went this route is to make a commentary on the fact that the Mastermind returns in SDR2. Like, Junko becomes an alter ego, whatever, and you end up dealing with her again, I guess. And also, Utsuro is kind of a commentary on, I guess, Izuru Hajime in general. But, like, I get what the attempt was. I just don't care about it, I guess. Probably the best way I can put it.
Yeah, I definitely like Izuru more, despite him being much less of a character himself, just because you can like project stuff onto him which are not as terrible as Utsuro.
Yeah. I think we should do Yuri next, because I also want to get him out of the fucking way.
Alrighty.
Okay. So, the first time I went through SDRA, I didn't... I've told this story before, but the reason... the first time I went through SDRA, I actually came in around Chapter 4, specifically the... right before the bedroom conversation with Nikei. And then I started voicing Mikado, and that bitch is the reason I'm obsessed with fangans now. Anyway, so I didn't get to properly experience Yuri for the first time until my second playthrough. And then I saw him, and I'm like, you're low-key kind of annoying, but kind of funny. But I didn't care much about him, because I forgot he existed after he died until they started talking about him in Chapter 6. And I'm like, huh? Who this? Who this bitch? Why he stacked? What is this? And then they showed me what he initially looked like. I'm like, damn, he's baby. What the fuck is that? But yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of wasted potential with him too, in the sense of like, Lineage claims he's one of the smartest characters on cast, but we don't get to see it. We don't get to see anything about him, really. Yeah. All we know is that he's a womanizer. He's smart, air quotes, and he's comic relief. So I feel like he pretty much falls short in anything story relevance-wise, other than, like, what they talk about in Chapter 6, about, like, the alter ego stuff, and the fact that, like, he had funding nonsense and whatever else, and his connection of the fact that he hired Akane, or his family hired Akane when she was younger. So, like, like, he doesn't have a whole lot of relevance to to anything at all, really. I do think he's hilarious, though.
he sure fucking is. For me, he plays a little bit higher for really much of two reasons. One, he really is just so fucking hilarious. His entire screen time that he spent existing was mostly spent on being very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Two, he actually, despite, of course, having first victim syndrome, he actually made use of the time rather well, considering really that he is the first victim and we get the least bit out of him, out of everyone. His whole ultimate sim thing is definitely memorable. It sure is quite something. It makes you think like, man, what could have been if he had survived longer, though at the same time I also cannot imagine it, because he very much was also made to die there. I must say.
Yeah, definitely. He's a whole ass silly goose. He's on that fucking silly goose.
No, it would have been nicer if he could have had more narrative significance, though later on the others pretty much forget about him very fast.
Yeah, literally. Like, half the time I forget he exists until I start the game over again. I'm like, oh fuck, yeah, you're here, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much because there's nothing that reminds you of him during the rest of the game.
Yeah. Honestly. I'll read a handful of facts about Yuri. He is very intelligent, comparable to Kanade. If Yuri had survived with only male characters, he probably would have tried to kill them. That's hilarious. Yuri is just weird. He'd probably never become a normal person.
Fair.
Yuri seems to have dating experience. Hilarious.
A little bit hard to picture, but alright.
If Yuri had cooperated with Kanata and the other girls were at risk during the class trial, the outcome would depend on the circumstances. Yuri's dream is to imprint his existence on a woman's heart forever, and he has to weigh whether or not it's worth it.
I don't think he would choose Kanata then, considering...
Yeah, her obsession with Hibiki.
Yep.
Yuri is a mixed race. His mother is Russian-Japanese.
Hmm.
Yuri gets embarrassed if a woman actively pursues him. Okay, that's a good note to end his on.
Now you just make me want to see that. I mean...
It's like, he can dish it out, but he can't handle when it's reciprocated. That's funny.
Almost feels
Okay.
like lost potential, because that would have also raised my opinion of him.
Yeah, exactly. See, you find out all this shit in the Q&As, and it's not in the games at all. Like, what the hell?
I mean, we would have
Okay.
needed a woman as interesting enough to go after Yuri, of all people.
True, we would have. Alright, so we wanna get through the twins. Which twin would you like to do first?
I guess Kanata would be faster.
Okay. So, here's my thing. My opinion of the twins is basically the same, if I'm honest. I don't care much for either of them. Literally every time I play the game, I forget they exist until they're on screen. I'm gonna be honest. And every time I'm not playing the game or haven't looked at the game in a while, I forget they exist until they're suddenly in front of my face again. After chapter 3, I just forget about them. This happens every time, and I've gone through the game several times. I don't know, they're just not memorable to me. It's either that or I subconsciously block them out. I don't know, dude, but like they do not stick with me for some reason. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. I see them like, oh yeah, you exist. It's literally the same as with Yuri. It's like, oh yeah, you exist. It's just that. I don't have an opinion on them. Other than like, Kanata is definitely unhinged, but yeah.
Unhinged almost feels like an understatement.
Honestly, yeah, she's the whack. Anyway, what is your opinion on Kanata?
I think her tier puts this very well. She was incredibly entertaining to me from like start to her interesting finish. But also, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like watching a train wreck and not being able to look away, if I'm honest. Because like when it's playing out in front of you, it's like, holy shit. For me, I just end up forgetting about it again later. I don't know why. I do.
For me, she like pretty much after she shows her more analytical side after a person first dies, that's pretty much a point where I was like, oh. And like I have said many times before, I like terrible women as well. So I am not immune to the Kanata. Though, however, her extent of fucked upness was still surprising to me.
Yeah, it's understandable.
And also, she was a riot to voice.
She is silly. She's on some serious silly juice.
Alright, since you already set your piece on Hibiki, I think, as well. Should I also...
Yeah, like, but the only other comment I have about her is she's a very whiny brat, and I can only handle her in doses. Yeah, go ahead and tell me about her, how you feel about her.
Hibiki had a lot of development already before chapter 3, which was already a good thing in her favor. But then like the whole shit with Kanata went down, and that was like, holy motherfucking shit. What is that? That's like, Jesus Christ, a lot.
Yeah, it was.
Then everything, whenever I see her, I now only think about what if Kanata's plan failed? What if Hibiki did not end up being a blackhand? What if she had the chance to, like, grow beyond her sister's influence? What if she had the potential to heal? And that's what I mean when I say potential for even greater heights, because she could have been an incredible surviving cast member if she had been allowed to.
Yeah. I will read some facts about the twins now. Kanade has a love-hate relationship with Hibiki, and Hibiki deals with jealousy and other issues. It's a complicated relationship, but neither of them want it to fall apart. They both have an abnormal obsession with each other, which makes my skin crawl, now that I read it out loud. If Kanade had died, Hibiki would have grieved and hopefully come to her senses with the help of her friends. If Hibiki had died, Kanade would have committed suicide. That's not surprising.
Yeah.
Kanade's large chest makes her uncomfortable, which doesn't surprise me either. I mean, having a massive rack kind of sucks back pain-wise. Even if the Otonokojis weren't twins, if they had met and become close, their fate would have been the same.
What is this called? Doomed?
Yeah. Yeah, doomed by the narrative. Let me see. Let me look for look under Biki's section now to see if I can find anything specific for her that isn't tied in with Kanade. Oh, here's one. If the killers in succession rule had not been in effect, Kanade may have chosen to escape with Hibiki. Killers in succession was the rule that allowed the double murder. Hibiki claims to have a mental connection with Kanade, but Kanade doesn't feel the same, so they're not mentally synced twins. Of course not. You can kind of tell. Hibiki is the worst cook in SDRA 2. Kanade does everything for her, so she doesn't even know how to cook ramen. Girl, you are hopeless. Hopeless. Good God. Hibiki doesn't feel emotions in her doll state. She can be considered entirely unconscious, which freaks me out if you think about it, because of how Kanade talks about it. She basically has explained that, like, means she can do whatever she wants with her, and if you think a bit too hard about that, it becomes disturbing.
Yeah, most definitely. Better not think too hard about it.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, yikes, okay. Let me see if I can find one that's a little more lighthearted. Good God. Hibiki has the smallest shoe size of the SDRA women. That's funny. I thought it would be Iroha.
Teeny tiny feet.
Tiniest of feets. I know there's at least 1 or 2 facts with Hibiki and Nikei, and I am trying to find them, but they're in very hard spots. I'm doing Control F and just scrolling that way. She's in here 72 times. God.
Not bad.
Yeah, the twins are pretty popular Q&A-wise before Lineage closed Q&As. He left them open for several years, but the thing was, like, he was getting questions about some of the cast members that he couldn't answer anymore because he didn't remember. Like, you know... It's a mess. Oh, this is an interesting one. Let me see if I can scroll to show the whole question. There we go. What does Tsurugi think about Hibiki? Would he equally treat her as a criminal, or would he lament about not being able to protect her since she was manipulated by Kanade? If it's Tsurugi, I think he'd see Hibiki as a criminal too, and then he put the little sweat drop semicolons. He's the kind of guy who doesn't even properly acknowledge self-defense. What the fuck, Tsurugi?
Yep. Figured.
Oh my god. Okay, I can't find the stuff about Nikei, so we'll just move on. Let's see, who next? You wanna do Kokoro?
Alrighty.
Okay, we'll do both versions of Kokoro. So, honestly, Kokoro in-game, during, like, just general play, she doesn't give you much, if I'm honest. Like, she does give you a little bit of insight, but, like, she's so detached from the group that she doesn't give you, like, enough of her to get properly attached. I do think she's interesting, but the thing is, a lot of the stuff that's interesting about her, you don't see until her FTEs or until, the in-between for Chapter 5 and 6. Which I think is a disservice to her, because She's an interesting evil woman, and I think there should be more about her. And I don't love her writing. I think it's a little weak. How do you feel about Kokoro?
I like evil women.
Yeah, she is a good evil woman. Like she's got that she's very fucked up.
Yeah, and I also generally also like this cold, analytical personality, though she had to be nerfed by the narrative for being too smart.
Yeah, genuinely, because she is so fucked. I think she's pretty neat in the respect that like she is actually more involved in the story than people think she is, but only background wise. Like she kind of helped with all the fuck shit in order to get it set up. She's the cause of a lot of it, and honestly, she enabled Ei Mikado to be worse than he already was, and to keep going in the development state that he was headed towards. She's like, yeah, I'm not gonna obscure you, keep being evil, be awful. He was like, awesome. And also, like, just her connection with both Mikados is kind of interesting. I can talk more about it when we reach him. I don't want to do him just yet. I want to save him near the end. Yeah, I think she's neat evil woman. I think it's a good example of Laneuz's evil woman. He needs to write more evil women, in my opinion, though. Give us more of that. There needs to be more.
Yep. Though she definitely was very nerfed by the narrative. I mean, can you imagine what a chapter 3 would have been like where she was alive?
Oh, that would be so crazy. Especially debating with Kanade. That'd be nuts. Because they're pretty close in intellect, actually. In the Q&As, it actually mentions that. Because she rivals Yuri and Shobai and Kanade in intelligence.
Man, it would have been so cool to watch.
I know, and then we were, so oops.
Oopsies.
I also liked the Yuri thing they were building up to with Emma, but well, we'll get to it when we get to Emma.
So, fun facts. I'll share this fact about her actually. Where is it? There's a fact in here. Specifically about who Kokoro's ideal type is. It's not Emma. It's Sora.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. Like, I understand why from a writing perspective standpoint as to why that is. I'll read it specifically word for word. Kokoro's ideal type would be someone raw, primal emotions, but that person would be Sora. And I'm just like, wow, Laneige, okay. You like your fucked up Yuri. Understandable. Because it would be pretty fucked up. She'd experiment on her and stuff.
Sadly, we only got this fucked up Yuri in the FTEs.
Yeah.
But well, we had fun with it, though.
Yeah. In the afterlife, Kokoro and Emma would have kept no secrets from each other and would have eventually become friends. If Kokoro had lived through chapter 2, she would have eventually run afoul with Kanade, so she probably would have been Kanade's victim instead. Yeah, from what I'm reading here. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of... Like, Kokoro is mentioned a lot of times in this document, but not a lot of the facts refer to just her. She's mostly mentioned in other people's sections. Yeah, okay. You want to do Emma now, since we were just talking about her?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's my thing. When I first went through SDRA, again, I was past the chapter where she even was. But then when I did meet her the first time properly, I didn't really have any attachment to her at all. There was also someone I ran into in fan circles who basically soured my opinion of her through association. I won't go fully into it. That's as much as I'm going to say about the matter. So when I went through SDRA with you, Rena, you actually saved my opinion of her. Because initially, I used to really not like her. I used to be completely indifferent to her. Like, for a long time, I didn't like her, and then it went to indifference. And now I kind of like her again because of us playing together. Because I felt like you gave such a compelling portrayal of her character that she didn't feel flat to me anymore. And that, like, it's just, I felt like I could understand her more that way. I'm not sure if I'm phrasing it correctly. I will say that the downside with her, though, is that her writing is very weak. Specifically, like, her trial and killer writing is incredibly weak. And I know part of that was because Lineage didn't properly research those topics when doing this section yet, or at least, if he had, not enough of it. It doesn't show that he researched enough, in my opinion, as someone who does suffer from something similar. So, like, that's the main fault in her writing. It could have been remedied if it just cooked a bit longer, in my opinion. A little bit of loss on potential in that part, but other than that, she was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Man, kind of incredible that you like my performance of her so much when I was just like, bad German accent.
I think that you were able to portray, like, her emotions really well, so it just made her feel more three-dimensional, I guess, is probably the best way I can explain it.
I did give her a bit more of an... I don't know, it feels a bit wrong to say it, but it is kind of the right direction. An arrogant edge?
Yeah, which I feel fits her to an extent, because she's not fully arrogant, but she tries to put off that energy to unnerve certain people. That, like, specifically, like, if she gets fed up with something, then she'll start to do it. Or if people start to step on her boundaries, then she'll do it. Like, she has the potential to do it, just not all the time, if that makes sense.
Standing up for yourself and stuff like that.
Yeah, except she does it that way, where, like, it puts you off balance and stuff.
Yeah, for me, Emma sadly was like critical lost potential, because I cannot get over how her writing in chapter 2 was just such a loss to me. I'm just like, man, there could have been such great Yuri, which was then destroyed by her writing kind of completely ignoring the fact that they had, like, almost friendship going on. And, like, yeah, everything it just makes me think of the original Danganronpa 2 case, with how Mondo's case was handled and how strong the emotional pull was there over how his feelings for the victim and all that, and why he did what he did, how it came to that, and his regrets afterwards. And Emma just gave me none of that when she very well could have, and in my opinion should have.
Yeah. I do agree with that. I'll give a handful of Emma facts. There's not a lot of them. Let's see. Not clicking the right button. I already read that one. Forest and castle in Emma's execution were part of the scenery on the island. There are a lot of places related to executions on Utsuroshima. Which, that's interesting. Okay. This is just a general void fact, but Mikado said that Hajime was incompetent and that Emma was competent for her loyalty. Hajime was angry about being betrayed by Mikado and tried to reveal their plans. Emma betrayed Void and was ready to join Kokoro's side, but chose to die as a Void.
This is sad.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a cute one. What kind of coffee do the Voids like? And so this is everybody. Oh my god, where'd it go? No. Come back. Okay, there we go. What kind of coffees do the Voids like? It says Emma is... Oh my god, come back. I hate documents sometimes. Americano, it's one of her favorite gifts in the game. Hajime doesn't like coffee, and he doesn't drink it. Iroha likes a latte with lots of syrup. Of course you would, you little sweet-toothed gremlin. Nikei only drinks coffee to wake up, so anything he can drink quickly, like instant coffee, disgusting! And then Mikado likes black coffee, which is to no surprise, because he literally says it in-game. She has the strongest alcohol tolerance out of the group, though. Iroha doesn't drink, Nikei doesn't drink and has 0 tolerance. Iroha has normal tolerance. Hajime has an amount that's surprising given he's someone supposed to be taking care of his health. And human Mikado has a normal tolerance, but AE Mikado is a program, so he doesn't get drunk. He has infinite tolerance, so he could just throw it back.
Too bad.
And then here are Mikado's initial impressions of the Four Voids. Hajime, he viewed as simple and straightforward with the... I think that's the kanji for dog next to it. I can't read that super well. Nikei, he views as a cute toy. Of course you would, you fucking dork. Iroha's an idiot, and he felt that Emma would eventually betray him someday. So he already felt that way about her for a while. No wonder her execution was so, violent. Jesus Christ. Probably resented her quite a bit, I assume. Okay, do you want to do Shinji or Iroha next?
Maybe Shinji.
Okay, we can do Shinji. So, fun fact about Shinji 2. When I first played, again, it was the chapter where I only saw very little of Shinji. At the time, because I lost a lot of context about him, and I didn't get to see his growth through the game, my initial reaction to him, since I came in pretty late into Chapter 4, was that Shinji was really annoying. That opinion has obviously changed, because I have gone through the game a few times now, but until playing it with you, I did not grow to like him. I was indifferent up until playing with you. And I think part of that was because that, I was just able to pay attention to him more this time. I kind of struggle paying attention to characters that yell all the time. Like, I will unintentionally tune them out. I do that with any character. Doesn't matter the gender, doesn't matter the sex. Any character that is loud and noisy and yells a lot, I subconsciously will tune them out and ignore them when they're talking. So I felt like I was able to actually pay attention to Shinji this time, and he really grew on me. I was surprising how much he grew on me and how much I ended up liking him. And I feel like his connection with Tuki is extremely important for Tuki's character. As well as like his connection with like the rest of the cast and how he developed and was able to handle talking to the girls a bit more later down the line. And it really sucks how he died.
The big-hearted muscle must always die in Chapter 4. Why this?
Just be like that. What are your opinions on Boyo?
I like him very much. Which,
good boy.
editing Chapter 1 was quite funny because I suspected the poor boy so much because at that point he felt flat to me.
Oh, I see.
Man. But yeah, he really stepped up. And while of course his embarrassment towards women wasn't a thing that just disappeared overnight, it definitely became less tropey in a way, and he really stepped up being the dad of the group. Yuki's connection and friendship with him was fantastic.
Yeah.
Shinji is a very, very good dude. Too good for this world.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
And because he was too good, he had to die.
Yeah, unfortunately. I will read a few Shinji facts. Between Hajime and Shinji has superior strength, but Hajime has an overwhelming combat ability. Among the cast, Hajime, Shinji, and Yoruko woke up the earliest. Yikes. Shinji loves his potatoes.
Potato.
He's the person with the greatest sense of justice in SDRA. That makes sense. That's probably why he was so morally strict when it came to that. Shinji has the largest shoe size in STRA too. That doesn't surprise me. Man's is fucking huge. He has the worst sleeping habits. Man, dude. Will Shinji get a girlfriend? If he does, he'll be popular with women who love Gatmoe. Thanks, Laneige.
I mean, of course.
Oh my god. When Shinji saw Yuki, who acted weak in the prologue, it stoked Shinji's passionate soul into wanting to protect him, and they naturally became close after that. There's another really nice fact that I need to find about him really quick. Hold on. That actually has to do with Yuki too, and since I didn't read a lot of Yuki facts, I'm gonna do that. I want to know what kind of relationship Shinji in his 50s and Yuki in his teens will have if they meet. Age doesn't matter if it comes to friendship between men. If they still have memories of what happened during SDRA 2, they'd continue to be as good as they were regardless of their age. Which I think is really sweet and nice. I just wanted to share that. I think that's really nice. I like that.
I mean, Shinji's
they are good.
Shinji's so important to Yuki, he freaking came back from the dead for a moment.
I know, literally. That drove me insane. I was like, ow, 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 my chest, ow. Yeah. God. Right. Let's do Iroha. Alright. First initial reaction of Iroha when I first went through the game is, I thought that she was an annoying gremlin shithead, and I couldn't stand her until Chapter 6. Chapter 6, she started to grow on me, specifically during the trial. I thought she was the funniest piece of shit ever. Like, but up until that point, even though I had come into the game about, like, halfway through it, yeah, when I got hit with that, I was just like, oh my god, you're hilarious. You're infuriating, but you're really funny. Yeah, it was really fucking funny. She grew on me. I do get frustrated with her sometimes just because she is dumb little chihuahua dog. Yeah. But, like, she's at least entertaining as dumb little chihuahua dog. I'll give her that. And I think her writing about her abuse and everything is actually very well articulated, and it shows very evidently in her character that she is selfish and closed off because of that. I think her writing properly reflects her personality, in my opinion. How do you feel about Girl?
She's my stupid dog.
I still love that you have that as a category. It's so fucking funny to me.
I mean, it didn't feel right to put those two in any other category. I had to do it.
Honestly, yeah, I get it.
At the very start, I just looked at her and was like, more blob, I'm not interested. Because, like, this type of very cute girls just does not interest me. But then...
Yeah, no, I get it. I felt that way too. And then her being annoying and dumb at the same time, like, really put me off from her. Again, until Chapter 6, when she started being really fucking funny.
But then she started to have obvious negative character traits, which were intentional.
Yeah, and then you were like, oh my god, evil woman, shitty little woman gremlin. And then you were like, yes, I like you, I keep you.
To be fair, I didn't really think of Iroha as, like, evil, but more like in, holy shit, she is a selfish little stupid bitch. And that is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. God. Right. I will get some Iroha facts here. Starting point for Iroha's love of BL was an article she read on social media. Of course it would be. Silly girl.
Of course.
She is the weakest character physically in SDRA 2. That's understandable. Yep. She's also the weakest character mentally in SDRA 2. Also understandable. It's not like it's a secret. Iroha's favorite fruit is apples. She holds her hair back when she eats. Her hairstyle isn't uncomfortable. She's one of Lunar's favorites, so of course there's questions. Yuki and Iroha's gift preferences are almost the same since they both like games and cartoons. That's funny.
I mean, yeah.
That's hilarious.
These two don't really get to talk much about it, though.
Iroha uses a lot of emoticons over social media. That's funny. just thinking of her typing with emojis every 5 seconds.
I can imagine she's probably the type who uses like 4 in a row.
Yeah, I can see it. Iroha's first and current impressions of Shobai are the same. A bad and unpleasant person. Yeah, you complain a lot though, girl. Iroha has a lot of sketchbooks. She keeps her used ones in a box. She doesn't have a Pixiv or a DeviantArt account. Her family's reputation won't allow her to post her favorite drawings, manga, etc. on the internet. Man, they really suppress her. Iroha only scribbles in her sketchbook and notebook and doesn't reveal her drawings to anybody. Man, she's got no one to talk to about her passions. No wonder she's, like, bitchy. Because, like, that makes sense. Good God. I want to find the mention of her, Utopia. I know it's somewhere. I just need to find it. Oh, it's a blackened question. Okay, this one's kind of interesting. It's a long answer, though. Mikado's original final goal was to win as the Blackened in Chapter 5, so by process of elimination, Emma was in charge of reproducing the 3rd case, right? However, Iroha wasn't meant to live until the 4th case, and I don't think he would have spared Emma. If he didn't lie to the Voids about the case Nikei's supposed to reenact and gave Iroha no specific plans at all, it's even more questionable that Nikei's own imagination flows from the original reproduction. Thinking about Mikado's algorithms and limitations, I don't think a series of reproductions will be established without the premise that Iroha or Emma can't kill until the end. And then the answer to that... Actually, Void's murder sequence has not been set in any particular order. In the game, the order of the Void's murder is handled properly until the 2nd murder. So what I've set is Hajime 1, Iroha 2. To be honest, the next one is, I don't know because it's not going to be covered in the story. As you said, you think of it with the process of elimination. The reason why Mikado gave Nikei a false plan is because calculating the process shown to Nikei betraying the Voids in the middle. As I said in my previous email, Mikado flexibly modifies his plans to match the situation that goes by. He continues to simulate every moment in the direction of optimal results. Therefore, a standard like, what if I act like that and then fail, is not acceptable to Mikado. It's a characteristic of Mikado Sonoji, the parentheses, alter ego, to prepare for the next plan if it fails. So, like, he was already thinking about a lot of shit. There's a lot of long questions like that, but that was not the one I was fucking looking for, but I thought it was interesting. How about... You want to do Setsuka first?
Sure.
Okay, cool. She's my other wife. I love her very much. Initially, I didn't have an opinion on Setsuka when I played, because, again, I came in after she died. But, going back through it, I did end up liking her. I'm like, oh, she's pretty. Oh, she's hot. I like her a lot. And then she's sweet, too, which, my type of woman. And I think that her connection with Sora is very nice. I think she's a very important aspect of the narrative, in the sense that one of my friends, Yomi, who basically helped us with, like, trial guides, put it better than I can, but basically she said that, like, the death of Setsuka basically symbolizes that everything goes to shit right after that. And it does, if you think about it, because once Setsuka dies, then you have the whole thing with Kanade and Hibiki, then you have Shinji dying, which is the other hopeful person in the group, and then you have everyone almost being eliminated in Chapter 5, along with Teruya dying, and then you have the nonsense that is Chapter 6. Like, I do understand, like, the death of her is like the death of hope, basically, from what a lot of people say, and from, like, Yomi's analysis of Setsuka, and Yomi's a big Setsuka fan, so I completely understand. I love her a lot, and I miss her. How do you feel about girl? Laugh.
Setsuka is very attractive.
I know, she's very hot. I also love that, like, she wears, like, I love women in suits, okay, man?
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Like, I know that her initial design was, like, a pencil skirt and hose, but, like, God, the suit is an upgrade, please. Like, oh my god. Please. Like, the slacks? Yum.
She's so attractive.
Honestly, considering the anime I watch, just having women in pants sometimes is amazing.
It's the best.
It's
I
wonderful.
love her.
And man, she really is the glue that really glued them all, the entire group together. She was such an important person to Hibiki. She took care of all the little ones. She is very much the mom of the group.
I know, I miss her.
And
I also
then-
really loved her dynamic with Sora because it felt like Sora sort of like losing herself a bit more too after she died. Because like she started second guessing herself about the Akane thing. She started having more falling outs with her friends. It sucked.
Yeah, she pretty much is 100% of the stability in this group.
And then they lost even more stability after Shinji died.
Oh yeah.
Because he was already struggling because of his PTSD, and he was already still trying to be like the rock holding things in place while Setsuka left, but he just couldn't. He was not in the state to. Oh, it sucks.
And then there's also the super interesting stuff with her working with the voids. And of course her lovely note was burned by Kanade.
Yeah, there's actually no record of what was on it either. Lineage never tells you. Because I looked through the Q&A for that, and he doesn't share what was on it. So a few fun facts about her. Her hair is actually waist length.
Ooh.
Very long. She has the largest shoe size of the women on cast. It's uncomfortable for her to keep her eye closed all the time, but she does it by force. Oh, you'll love this one, actually. This is one of my favorites. Where is it? During Chapter 3's free action time, Setsuka can be found floating around the control room near Nikei's room. I'm asking with a little imagination, but did Setsuka and Nikei ever enter each other's private rooms while sharing research data? And Lineage's fucking answer is, well, ellipses. I'll leave that up to your imagination.
I'm
like, you fucker. And in Chapter 6's control room video, there's a part where Setsuka tells Nikei that she knows how hard he had it in life. Did Nikei tell Setsuka anything about his past? The story you'll be telling in the omake, because initially he's supposed to give us Nikei's backstory, but we don't have it yet.
Yeah.
He probably wouldn't have told her 100% of truth due to his nature, but Setsuka knows a little more about Nikei than the others do. No, why did it do that? Okay, there we go. After Setsuka's death, Nikei becomes very intense and emotional. I asked before what Nikei thought of Setsuka, and you replied that he became a little attached to her. Was he frustrated that his plan had gone awry, or was he upset over Setsuka's death and losing his only companion after trying Void? Nikei isn't used to having any sort of relationship with anyone, and I think he didn't understand his own feelings at the time, so it's speculated that he might have been, like, more attached to her than people think. Yeah. Oh, I see. This is the only information he gives us about the note. Setsuka's note was a McGovern. I don't know what that means.
I also don't. I have heard those words before, but...
An object, event, or character in a film story that deserves to set and keep the plot in motion despite usually lacking intrinsic importance. I see. It's a writing device. And okay, let's move on to Hajime. I love this man's. I think he was on some king shit, and that unfortunately we did not get to see enough of him. That is my basic take on him. And the reason I say that is because we learn a lot about his backstory in post-game content, like with Lineage, like through Q&A and that sort of thing. Some stuff gets brought up in free time events, but not enough in my opinion to give you the full picture of how he was. Like, this man used to be a Yakuza after he, like, recovered and got out of the hospital. It was like sort of mafia Yakuza sort of deal. Like, he fucked around. And he also was a pretty important, like, a pretty important force in, air quotes, the children of Utsuro, because it wasn't called Void yet until Mikado became involved. So, like, he sort of looked after the group, and it's just a shame because we don't learn any of that in-game, and I think that's a weakness to his writing. I like him. I think that we did get to see more of his writing during the Void theaters, but unfortunately, I just feel like that really wasn't enough to properly sell him as a fleshed out character. Like, it does flesh him out a little more, but not in a way I would have liked to see.
Yeah, and it's mostly comedic.
Yeah, it is mostly comedic. How do you feel about my boy?
He is a very good boy who is terribly cursed by being the first chapter killer and not being, well, seriously brought up or being narratively important again after the fact. Because, yeah, Void Theater is mostly comedic, so it doesn't really get into the meat of things. At least not for Hajime, it does more for Nikei, I feel.
Yeah, man.
He's such a good boy, he's very sympathetic.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. Like, even though, like, a lot of his interjections were, like, just to engage with the group, I really liked what he brought to the table, and I mourn the fact that he left us so damn early.
Yeah, he's a really good, positive jock representation.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. It's like, the only reason he started acting up right before he died was because he didn't want people to mourn his loss. He wanted them to resent him because he felt like he deserved it. And that makes me really emotional because he did regret killing someone. Especially because, like, he betrayed Mikado and everything. God, I miss him. He was really good. I'll read some facts about him. Man does not go with machines. You poor bastard. Do you have boomer syndrome? You're, like, literally in your 20s, you little shit. Among both games' casts, the characters who get the most attention from the opposite sex are Hajime and Emma.
Of course.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me. When Shinji defended Hajime in the first trial, he felt a bit guilty, but it didn't bother him too much. Hajime's line about having fun and making friends after being revealed as a void was sincere. If Hajime and Mikado were to fight, Mikado would win. Lineage compared them to different types of Pokemon. Where are the types? Why didn't you put that in here?
Man.
Because Rena could have giggled about that. I know Rena knows a lot more about Pokemon's nonsense than I do.
Yep.
He avoids sweets and stuff. Understandable. I know he's like that. Hajime takes his sunglasses off in a bright place. He's able to see a bit, but there are a lot of after effects. It's not good for him to be exposed to bright light for a long time, but he's okay taking his sunglasses off for a short period of time. I think it has to do with his eyes. Like, I know that he doesn't have good health in his eyes specifically. They're just, I think they're like albino eyes, so they're sensitive to sunlight and things. Hajime's ideal type is someone active and healthy. Understandable, my guy. Since Hajime suffered from an incurable disease from a young age, he's always been obsessed with his health, and he doesn't like fast food and never tried it. Well, you're a lucky bastard.
If only.
He has so many of these. Receives the most chocolate on Valentine's Day.
Of course.
But he doesn't eat any of it.
Man. It's the thought that counts.
Yeah, he goes, if he receives chocolate on Valentine's Day, he'll respond by saying, "Thank you. Chocolate isn't good for my health, so I'll just hold on to it, buddy."
Somewhere he has a whole closet full of rotting chocolate.
Yeah, I bet. It's either that or he probably gifts it to, like, Emma and Iroha or something. No! The Hajime doll that was made after his execution was probably thrown away. No! I like the doll. I think it's cute.
A bit bloody, but yeah.
Oh my god, these are cute. If Hajime had a lover, he would care about their health more than his own. He would also be scolded by them because he's such a meathead and he's not very delicate. Lacking an emotional intelligence department, my guy. He's tone deaf, no way. What's wrong with him? He can't sing! I love Hajime, he's so fucking funny. But, oh my god, I forgot about this one. At the beach event in the prologue, Hajime was admiring Yuri's body, and Kagarin dismissed him.
Well.
Oh, man's is not straight. We like a bi king.
Of course, Yuri of all people.
He liked the abs. If Teruya was there, he probably would have done that to him too, honestly.
Probably. Better taste.
It's like, damn, okay. Alright, so let's do... you wanna do Shobai or Nikei next?
Nikei.
Alright, understandable. He's fun. So, as much as I bully Nikei, I promise I do like him, okay? Let me just get that out of the way. My opinion of him over time has declined, mostly because some fans are annoying. It's not his fault, it's just I have loved these characters for a few years now, and sometimes you get a bit tired of some bullshit. But it's not his fault. Anyway, I like his writing. I think that, he's incredibly entertaining, narrative-wise, and I fucking love snarking with him. Voicing him was a lot of fucking fun. And, a lot of my fondness for Nikei specifically comes from the fact that, when I played SDRA for the first time, the scene I came in on, I've said this countless times, but it's important so that people understand it. I came in on the scene where Nikei is talking to everyone in his bedroom, and then Mikado interrupts. I took on the voice of Mikado at the time, and my friend Ha voiced Nikei. And that was my initial, like, first exposure to the dynamic between those two and just the characters in this game in general. And I was immediately hooked. It was that scene. So, I already had a specific, understanding of how Nikei was. Well, basically, I was already spoiled on him, but I didn't know I was spoiled at the time, if that makes sense. But, like, a lot of my fondness for him goes back to that specific memory. And, like, I also do love to shit on him about just as much as I do Kinjo. But in, like, a lovingly bullying sort of way. Like, I like seeing him suffer. I like him going through bullshit. It's really funny to me. I love when people pick on him. And also, like, him and Kinjo are the fandom's punching bag, honestly. With all the fan art you can look for, it's there.
I mean, after that performance, of course.
Yeah, he's silly.
He needs to be bullied.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He needs it, and he also likes it too, so, you know. Alright, your turn. Tell me why you like the boy.
He is such a little bitch. It's wonderful.
Yeah. I like how much of a little shithead he is. It's perfect.
Especially since I just finished editing chapter 4, my opinion is especially strong right now.
Yeah, I know,
because
he's great.
Boy, it was so fun to poke holes and like just bitch at him every time he said something sus or stupid. It was so much fun.
He was also one of the main reasons, other than like just wanting you to have the most raw and unspoiled experience as possible, that I was like really apprehensive about just making sure that I didn't send you anything that was spoilers, and that also that even my friends who also knew the game didn't send you anything while waiting for us to finish, because I was like, all of you are Nikei fans. I don't trust any of you to keep your mouth shut. You send shit to me and I will filter it to Rina. We are not going to spoil Rina like y'all did me with DRA. We're not doing this. So, like, specifically for him, you get a better reaction to him and a stronger fondness to him if you're completely unspoiled on who he is. And it's a fun reveal, honestly, because of just how it's built in the narrative, especially the whole Tower of Babel thing, like basically confronting God and failing. Like, that's the whole trope of that chapter. And it's reflected well, considering that Nikei confronts God, i.e. Utsuro and Mikado, and fails.
You know, thinking about it, his, like, TTS, it looks like Hermes, but it could have also been Icarus.
I think it's supposed to be symbolic of both. I know that there's somewhere in the Q&As that actually says the names of all their costumes. I'd have to look for it later. But, yeah. I think that's intended too. Yeah, I think... Yeah.
He's such a little bitch.
He is a little bitch, but he's really fucking entertaining. Okay.
And
Nikei has so many facts. I'm obviously not going to read them all, but I will read a few. Nikei isn't cowardly, so he's been acting the whole time. Little shit.
I mean, he can't be very cowardly with the shit he pulled.
Yeah. When Nikei is angry, he gets similar to how he acted at the end of Chapter 1 class trial, basically sarcastic with a low, rough tone. Yeah, no surprise. He usually wears plain clothes. His ideal type doesn't exist. He hasn't thought of dating because he's so busy with his work. He's basically married to his career. Is the point of that.
Man.
Nikei's agility and stamina are average. He exercises normally, but he doesn't like it. What a fucking whiner. He likes fast food and dislikes things that are too sweet. You baby. I'm gonna keep picking on him. He has no dating experience and no friends. Yeah, I know. Absolute loser. If Nikei was in a relationship, he'd be very obsessive. Doing interviews requires a certain amount of obsession, too. If a cockroach suddenly appeared near Nikei, he'd hate it, but not to the point of making a fuss over it.
Interesting questions that are being asked.
Everyone likes bullying Nikei in this fandom, I told you. It's really funny. So they asked him a lot of interesting things. Nikei is interested in lotions and moisturizers, and his hair is short. It takes a lot of maintenance. No wonder him and Tsurugi would get along. They're both vain bastards. They talk about their hair and skincare. What a pair of fucking nerds.
You know, looking at them, you would never guess it.
I know, literally. When Nikei is in great pain, he endures it and doesn't make a sound, so he has a high pain tolerance. Oh my god. I forgot about this question. This is about 3 of the characters. Yuki would look prettiest while cross-dressing. Nikei might look okay too. Yuri's too muscular, so he doesn't look stylish. Thank you, Lanush.
Though I would expect that Nikei would, like, really hit it off. I mean, with that face.
I know, honestly. Even Setsuka says, "You're so feminine," and he's like, "Shut the fuck up." It's really funny. Oh my god, I love this question. There was some people who sent a lot of questions for Mikado and Nikei together, because that's a really popular boys love ship. Sleeping habits of Mikado and Nikei. Mikado's a program, so he doesn't sleep. Thank you. I've been meaning to talk about that. Nikei sleeps like he's dead. Understandable.
I mean, with all the overwork
completely
he does.
makes fucking sense. Yeah. Nikei feels inferior to Mikado, but is there anything he thinks he's better at than Mikado? Looks? With a question mark?
Looks?
In my opinion, he's not prettier than Mikado, but I know not everyone agrees with me.
Depends on which kind of attractive. Is it like pretty, beautiful, handsome? These are all different looks.
Yeah, I don't know how to put it into words, honestly. Trying to see. I'll share this one and then we'll move on. Does Nikei celebrate his birthday? He doesn't like sweets and he doesn't have any friends, so Nikei is busy in his day-to-day life, so his birthday isn't much different from any other day. He probably doesn't even remember it half the time, if I'm honest.
That's depressing.
Yeah, just a bit. Alright, you ready to move on to the one, the only, the Shobai mans?
Yes.
Okay. I really, really like Shobai, and I always have. My opinion of him over time has, like, fluctuated, though, just because, like, everyone talks about him all the time, and sometimes you get tired of hearing the same thing. But I still really love him. I think he's great. He's funny, he's smart, he's a whole-ass bastard, so he's really fucking entertaining, and I appreciate that about him. I think his writing is absolutely solid. I think he makes the story compelling, and all the way up to the end of it. I think that a lot of people actually are able to get through this game pretty easily because of the fact that Shobai's there, if I'm honest. Like, him, Nikei, Mikado makes it entertaining too, and so does Sora. I feel like they're the main characters in the game that, like, really drive interest or, like, able to sit through it and stuff. I just think he's, like, a really important character, and he's really good. And he's an absolute fuck, and I appreciate it. And he's really fun to voice.
Yes.
How do you feel about the man?
Shobai is very fun from, like, day one. He initially makes it look like he's gonna be a shit stereotype, but then he actually is just there, but also hates being there.
I know, he's hilarious.
Like, it's amazing how normal he can act alongside the others when he has to.
Yeah.
And that is just very, very entertaining to have such a terribly unmoral character in your cast, and for him to not do a single murder, but be helpful most of the time, but also be such a bitch.
Yeah, I know. Really funny.
So yeah, it's very easy to see why he's popular. He just... everything about him...
he's one of the most popular characters.
Everything about him just draws your eyes to him. He just makes you happy when you see him and be his grouchy little butt.
Yeah, he's a whole-ass bastard, and he's really hilarious. I'll share a few facts about him, too. He's tone-deaf, no surprise. I don't see him having any interest in singing whatsoever. When Lanuz draws Shobai's hair, it's easier for him to start with the stringy bangs first and then draw the rest. And then he also comments that he has the most difficult hair to draw. That's really funny, Lanuz.
I can imagine. It does look like more work.
Yeah. Although Shobai has done contract killing, his main job is brokerage, so he hasn't committed that many murders. That's why he comments on Kanata's body count. If Shobai were to find someone he valued more than money, he'd use all of his fortune to protect them. So I gesture back to the thing I said about Sora. Sora buys, I'm sure, appreciate that fact. Shobai used to be pure and reserved in the past. Poor bastard.
Corruption was strong, I see.
Yeah. Shobai lived a wealthy and peaceful life before his parents abandoned him. Damn, dude. So he even came from wealth, too. His drawing skill is average. That's interesting. No wonder him and Iroha stick around together, among other things. Shobai likes making money with money, so he continues to spend and invest and make more money as he grows richer. Understandable.
Understandable.
If Shobai were to lose his temper, he'd kill whoever made him angry. Damn, bro, okay.
Good thing he doesn't lose his temper so much, eh?
Yeah. He isn't interested in animals. Bro, that's a negative for me. What the fuck?
He doesn't get him monies, or so.
Yeah. He doesn't have a set sleeping schedule. I wouldn't think so, considering what he's into. Shobai's favorite knife is a folding knife that's light and easy to carry. He's willing to use whatever weapon is on hand, though. He can speak 20 languages. Which ones, Laneige? Why didn't you list which ones?
Also, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. Man's a smart. Shobai doesn't stay in touch with any of his clients. When a transaction is finished, they're treated like strangers. Surprisingly, Shobai enjoys reading.
I mean, he needs to get his knowledge somewhere.
Yeah, I know. Alright, he literally has 148 mentions, so I think I'll move on. Yeah, he has a lot.
Mr. Popular.
Right. Yeah, understandable. Alright. I'm debating on if we should do the 6.5 cast first, and then do my favorites. I kind of want to do it in that order, because I know I'll ramble the most with the last 4. So, which of the 6.5... Let's do Ando, even though he's not on here. The doctor guy, like Inori's dad. I know he wasn't on the tier list, but we need to do him too, because he's there.
He exists.
Yeah, he exists. I feel like I would have put him in good but weak writing too, because I feel like a lot of the 6.5 cast was good but weak writing, in my opinion. And as much as I liked him character-wise for, like, how he was with his little 6.5 group, he also just does not become relevant again, other than, like, 1 or 2 mentions in SDRA. So, like, he exists, but not much beside that. Like, he's as, like, he barely gets as much, if not any mentions, as much as, Tsurugi's friend Kohei, and then also his dad, and then, like, the parents of the survivors. Like, they have mentions too, but it's almost just as, like, irrelevant, I guess, is probably the best way I can put it. Which is a shame, because it would have been nice to see him again in the post section of 2, but I understand why he's not there, I guess, since it's not in the events didn't occur in his section of the Foundation. It wasn't near the infirmary wing, I suppose, is why he wasn't there, but yeah.
I also would put him in the want to see more of category, because, yeah, 6.5 was cool, but it also was short, and you didn't really get much out of his character there.
Yeah.
He's such a good guy, though. Would really like to see him more and see him more interact with others.
Yeah, he's okay. He comes up 3 times. I already mentioned one fact about him. Here's the one that I wanted to read. When Kanata was in a car accident that killed her parents, she also suffered from torticollis as a result until Hikaru Ando saved her. That's the only other thing I wanted to read about him, because there's not really much in the document about him. Let's go ahead and do Keisuke. So, I am really mixed on what they did to Keisuke between 6.5 and 2, because the Keisuke I was familiar with whenever I went through SDRA, again, I didn't go through DRA first, I was familiar with Keisuke being a hard ass, like, you know, like loyal to Kinjo through and through. So when I saw him in 6.5 and saw how his personality was, and he was like the exact opposite of that, I mentally, I was like, holy shit, Kinjo did a number on you. But I obviously didn't say anything because I didn't want to spoil you. But I was just like, wow, that's a stark change, and I don't like what they did there. So, like, I liked him in 6.5. Like, I was really fond of him and very attached, and I'm pretty emotional about him and the fact that he lost Satsuki. I don't love the development jump of which that, like, he basically gave up his agency and is blinded by his grief enough to follow Kinjo and not down a single one of his orders. I think that really cheapens him, and it ruins his character, for me, anyway.
Yeah, for me, he pretty much ended up going into the meh category because of how disappointed I was in how he developed. Because in 6.5, he really was just such a good guy. Such a sympathetic good guy, and then in the sequel, he was barely a character. He was barely recognizable.
Yeah, they almost downgraded him to NPC, which I didn't like because we already had fleshing for him. We already had, like, some time with him, enough to get his personality, because out of the 5 in 6.5, he was one of the few that talked the most. So you would have thought that, like, we would have gotten more out of him. But, like, what we did get out of him was utterly disappointing in 2. I didn't like that change. I thought it was gross, honestly. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I know some people ship him with Kinjo, but I don't know if I agree with that, just because, like, I feel like a lot of what happens with Keisuke is he's blinded by his grief, so he's following Kinjo in order to cope, and I don't love that. Like, toxic yaoi, sure, I guess that fits for some people, but I don't know. I'm not fond of this toxic yaoi specifically, I guess.
Nah, for me, it is... it's too different. Way too different from how he used to be. It's not really recognizable, therefore he is a different character to me, and I'm not particularly interested in what he has become.
Yeah, I can understand that. I completely get where you're coming from. I think there's some facts about Keisuke too, specifically about Satsuki. Let me find them. Keisuke Iranami has a high tone to his voice. He's in the action department for the foundation. So is Ryutaro. In admin, we have Minako, Ando, and Midori, which doesn't surprise me. When and how did Keisuke become infected with Tsurugi's ideals? I feel like you'd want to hear this. I can't tell you the details, but Satsuki's death had a big impact. So yeah, it was to cope with his grief. That really upsets me. If Teruya had been in the situation where Midori Yamaguchi was being held hostage in the place of Keisuke Iranami, Teruya would have shot Midori. He would have been very conflicted before firing, and he would have regretted it long after he shot her. So, like, Keisuke actually was hesitating longer than Teruya would have, but even then, I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
I don't think it was portrayed well enough to show that, like, he was hesitant on shooting her. It felt like he was too ready to do it. Anyway, we'll move on to Ryutaro now. So, I've always been kind of mixed on Ryutaro, just because, like, I thought he was more likable in 6.5, I'll be honest. In the manner of, like, he was just sort of a guy. Like a dude. Kind of trying to figure shit out, and he's like, I'm a victim of circumstance, but I'm trying not to let it get to me, and I'm just trying to get through this shit. And also, this woman is weird, gestures to Minako, and I guess Yamaguchi's sister is cute and all, and Keisuke seems like a bro. He was just a dude. Just a guy hanging out, trying his best.
Yep.
So, like, I liked him in 6.5. It felt like, as much as he changed in 2, I don't know if I really love the change with him either. I definitely didn't mind it as much as Keisuke's change. I think Keisuke got it way worse than Ryutaro did. But I felt like Ryutaro was more hot-headed. I liked that he showed defiance against Kinjo to show that, like, this goes against my ideals and this goes against the memory of my sister. I think the point of that was to show, like, a foil reflection between Keisuke and Ryutaro. Now, because of, like, how they're both coping with their grief, I think there was supposed to be a foil thing going on there. But there wasn't enough of it to really explore it, I suppose. So it doesn't come off in a way that would have been strong narratively, in my opinion, because we don't see enough of them. I believe that was the intent, was to make them more of, like, a foil comparison. Like, Keisuke chose to meld into Kinjo's ideals to cope with the loss of his sister, while Ryutaro held on to the memory of his sister and refused Kinjo's ideals because they go against what she stood for. So, like, I do acknowledge that that was the intent. I just don't know if I care for how it was portrayed. I think it could have been done better than what was done here. But you also have to keep in mind how little time there was left of the game to be able to show these things. But with that said, like, I get it, but also I still think they were weak, fighting-wise.
For me, I also thought that Ryutaro was quite sympathetic in 6.5. I mean, he really was just a dude who was kind of bratty, but he really did his best to, like, help Midori and stuff, so he was pretty sympathetic, had some funny reactions. as a
I
protagonist.
also liked the little bits we saw between him and Maki. Like, I liked how he was processing, like, I really want to see my sister, I hope she's okay. I liked how we got to saw that from his perspective. Thought that was good. It didn't feel like it was elaborated as much on in 2. Which was a lot of a core of what he was. So I think that's part of my issue with it too.
Yeah, and then, yeah, in 2, what little we saw of him, I must say he was forgettable for me. I barely remember his scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
It was so little there that I struggled to remember what he actually did.
Ryutaro feels closest to Teruya. He was shocked to learn that Mitsuhiro killed his sister, but after learning the truth, he sympathized with him. What do you mean?
Over soccer?
It doesn't elaborate.
Okay.
I hate that. And the only other fact here is the Kisaragi positions I already stated. So we'll move on to Midori. We'll do Midori, then Minako, and then circle back to my faves.
Yep.
Okay, so I want to say that I really love Midori, and I do to an extent, but I feel like her writing's weak. Like, I do like how much we see of her in 6.5, and I do like how much she contributes conversationally. I don't think she contributes much to the story other than to add padding, however, with the backtracking and, like, the rescuing and that sort of thing. And I understand that has to do with the foundation of her character because her health is bad, etc. But I also feel like she has a little bit of plot character syndrome.
Honestly,
it's like,
yeah.
Where it's like things are happening to her for the sake of plot, and I feel like that happened again in 2, where like she gets threatened by Shobai and Iroha, then she gets kidnapped, then Yuki saves her, blah blah blah. Yeah, it just feels a lot like plot character syndrome. Unfortunately, but I feel like there's more that could have been done with her that just wasn't because of lack of time and space, I suppose. But like, yeah, I don't know. She comes off as plot syndrome, even though I want to like her. How do you feel about her?
She is very likable, and it's very easy to care about her and wanting, especially considering who her brother is, you immediately kind of latch onto her and be like, ah, yes.
Yeah.
It is you, the little sister.
Yeah, I think that's what helps with attachment to her is because she's Kakeru's sister. I think that helps. But also, like, she just has such plot character syndrome, unfortunately. A lot of Lanuja's characters have plot character syndrome.
Yeah, she definitely suffers under plot, or rather, she has to be the damsel to move the plot forward, which is a bit tiring, to say the least. Especially considering I had to suffer
a little
through
exhausting.
all that.
Yeah. So I'll read a few facts from Midori. She's not mentioned much in here either. What is the percentage of hardliners, moderates, and neutrals in the Kisaragi Foundation? Neutrals are virtually non-existent, even including Midori, and it's so tight that hardliners and moderates are even split. I'm not sure what any of that means, but okay.
Maybe pro Kinjo and anti Kinjo?
Yeah, probably. Oh man, that's the only other fact about her other than the shit I already read. Okay. I guess we're moving on to Minako. So, I feel like getting to know Minako helped me better understand Kizuna. And I think that was the point of her character, was for you to meet Minako to understand more about why Kizuna was the way she is. I just feel like it's a bit of a disservice to learn that information long after Kizuna has died, because Kizuna died in chapter 2, and she didn't really come up in the rest of the plot because of that. But, like, I do like Minako as her own character, as, like, bitchy wine aunt sort of atmosphere. She did get on my nerves slightly, just because of how much she whines, but other than that, she was moderately entertaining.
Yeah, she was definitely entertaining and fun to watch. Yeah. The bitter and
the only
whiny
real opinion
auntie.
I have on her. Yeah, she's just bitter wine aunt. That's the only opinion I have on her at all.
Yeah, it's something I do like, but it doesn't really give you much in terms of writing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I would love to see more of her bitch and whine and be a whined aunt.
Yeah. And I also kind of like how she did soften into and basically became like a more of like the aunt of the foundation, like to the other admins. I think that was sweet. I think it's also a little weird that like she's connected to Yoriko. I don't understand that much. But yeah, like it's alright, I suppose. Like I feel like more could have been done with here.
Phew. So, are you ready?
She does not have any facts, actually, so we'll be moving straight to my faves. I will start with Monocro, actually, because I love him a lot. I think Monocro is the best and good mascot that I've ever seen so far. And I have a top 3. I have a top 3 in no specific order. It is Monocro, Mono TV from DRDT, which is Danganronpa Despair Time, and then it's Monochrome from Danganronpa Coward's Paradise, which is chapter 1 still being worked on. But those are my favorite mascots, and I just have to say that, like, I love how snarky Monocro is, but how smart he is, but how he later, like, tries to become friends with Sora. I just think he's very lovable crow. I have literally a giant plushie of him sitting behind me. That is his home. He sits there with my Mikado plushies and my Nikei plushie and my 2 mini Tsurugis. They all sit there. They just sit there. They chill. And I just fucking love Monocro. I think he's adorable. I fucking love him. He's really entertaining in the story. I am still mad at my husband for making him explode and then bringing him back and then fucking him off again. I'm still mad at him about that, but we'll get over it. It won't end in a divorce, I assure you, but he is in the doghouse. Yeah, I fucking love Monocro. He's adorable, he's burb, he's squishy, and I love the fact that he's basically a doll. He's like basically a giant plush doll, and I love that. Thank you for him, Lineage. He is the boy ever.
He's such a good burp. By the way, did my tier list have? Yes, it also had him.
Monocro!
He's such a good burp. Basically the most sympathetic version of a Monokuma I have ever seen.
Literally, though, like, he's probably the most sympathetic mascot I've ever met for any of these fangirls, and I haven't gone through a whole ton. I've been through a few, but, like, honestly, he's the best, and I love him, and he's great. And, like, he still keeps the fangirl mascot atmosphere of, like, I have to do the rule things, but he's also still entertaining and charming and lovable, and, like, you get really attached to him. Yeah, and it's nice.
He has a proper character.
Yeah, he does. He has a proper character, and that's excellent, and I love that. And I know part of that's plot relevance, but, like, at the same time, it works. It doesn't feel like plot until it tells you that it is. And it's nice. I like it. Monocro can fly at the same speed as a car. The reason why Monocro has little presence is because of Mikado and Void. Cast prefers Monocro to Mikado. Of course they would. He's the cutest bitch ever. Monocro weighs about as much as a stuffed doll. Monocro's first-person pronoun changes frequently. He likes shiny things and dislikes Yuki. As you should, bud.
That fact is still so funny.
As he fucking should. He fucking hates Yuki, and I appreciate him for it. Oh, wait, yeah, one more. Is the tactical feel of Monocro closer to a real bird or a doll? It's more like a doll. So soft with the tilde. Thank you, Lineage. Thank you for that. That's very cute. Between Monocro and Mikado, which one do the students think is better? I guess it would be Monocro. In fact, Mikado draws most of their attention as the mastermind. Does Monocro weigh lightly? He weighs about the same as a stuffed animal. The cutest boy ever. Okay, now we're getting to my husband. Hopefully I won't choke when I drink water again. Hold on. Alright, I think we're fucking good. Okay. I'm gonna ramble so fucking much about him, even though I have, like, next to no water left, but it's fine. We're nearing the end of this. This is the bitch that got me into fangans. I would not be into fangans without this bitch. This is the bitch that did that to me. Specifically the blonde one, because I met the blonde one first, obviously. That bitch right there. That fucker got me interested in fangans. That fucker got me obsessed with another series. I still love him to bits, even though I don't, like, actively engage with a lot of, like, any of the EN fans specifically. I like the others, but, you know, I don't like drama. I think drama's stupid. But yeah, I love this bitch. He's really funny. I love how cryptic he is. I love that he breaks the fourth wall all the time. I think he's really fucking entertaining. I think his writing is excellent. I just don't care about his obsession with Utsuro. That is my only gripe. If he didn't have the obsession with Utsuro, he would be absolutely perfect.
To be fair, he only is obsessed with Utsuro to kill him, so...
Yeah, and the only other reason he's obsessed with Utsuro is because he was programmed to be obsessed with Utsuro. Because I've gone into this before, but I'll do it again. Like, AE's purpose was to turn into Utsuro initially. It wasn't actually to be Mikado. Initially, what happened was Kokoro made a brain map of IRL Mikado, Mr. Glasses Nerd here, and then they tried to craft a alter ego based off of the memories of Utsuro. However, it didn't work because the core is Mikado. It's Mikado's brain map. You can't just turn someone else's brain into another person. And I know that's contradictory, considering what happens with Yuki and Utsuro, but we'll get there. So, technically, his reason for his obsession is because initially, down to his core programming, he was supposed to become Utsuro, and so gradually, as he evolved into his own person, he instead defaulted to, well, I'll just kill you and take your ability. That's the same thing, isn't it? That's the reason. So I understand writing-wise why he is. And because, like, Mikado grows up with no connections to anybody whatsoever, so he's deluded into thinking that Utsuro was the only person who had ever cared for him aside from Kokoro. So it's all based off of a misconception, and it makes me really sad and emotional because I love these two idiots. But, like, I want better for my boy, and I know he won't get it, and that's fine. He's stuck forever with his girlfriend in Neo, though, so that's good enough for me.
Beach time.
Yeah, honestly, I love the summer thing that Laneige did, where he's like face down up in the fucking sand. It's hilarious. I do like IRL Mikado, but we don't see enough of him. And people have the misconception that these two are the same person, and to be honest, considering how the game is formatted, it leads you to believe that they are. Because, well, if you're in here, that means you have an actual body, right? No. Technically, AE is a half-clone of IRL. So, like, basically just, they're more of clones than anything else. They're not the same person, they're not related, none of that. And I already went over the thing about how IRL and Kokoro are not his parents. It was supposed to be religious symbolicism about the fact that they're his creators, air quotes. It's just you lose nuance when translating Korean to English. If you want more of that, go watch Trial 6. Anyway, because I already explained it all there. But yeah, I love this bitch. He is the reason for my fangirl obsession. I will always love this bitch, probably. I have a strong attachment to him, and I know he gets a lot of hate. People really fucking despise him, but honestly, he was a character that came into my life when I was enduring some real shit, so I have a huge soft spot for him and the friends that I met through voicing this, and just, like, making connections that way. But yeah, I'm always gonna have a soft spot for the Another series, even though it definitely has its fucking fault. How do you feel about my boys, Rena?
He's a very interesting boy.
He's so interesting. I love him. He's great. I like him a lot.
fantastic design and idea, I must first of all say, because of the whole mask thing, where only the mask really changes and the real face doesn't change.
Yeah.
The magician thing, and also him being an AI really also, I do understand the obsession there. AIs as a character are always something special, I must say.
Yeah, and there was also just a flaw with his programming in general. He was programmed to believe that, like, Utsuro had the divine luck, and then Sora points out, but the problem is, you were flawed from the start, because he didn't have it anymore. You were doomed to fail. Which I think is a really neat narrative device, honestly, because an AE that was programmed from the start to become or do a certain thing ended up having a flawed programming from the start because he was sent to do the wrong thing initially. I just thought it was neat. I think it's a neat little thing.
Just generally, everything about him is, in my opinion, a great idea. I mean, having him be the mastermind, having him be revealed in the prologue, having him be a little gremlin the entire game over. I was quite mad at him after chapter 4 for a while due to the Nikei thing, but the AI reveal calmed me down a bit because my standards for what I expect from a human character and an AI character are very different.
Yeah, I tried very hard not to leak that specific piece of information, but yeah, he's got his reasons. And also a lot of people don't understand that a lot of the reason that Mikado ends up slowly becoming as malicious as he does is how AEs work in Danganronpa in general as a concept is they learn through experiences in talking. We know this because it's brought up in the original Danganronpa when Chihiro tells us about it. Mikado has only been shown neglect and disdain. So of course, as he develops, the longer he's associating with the rest of the cast, he's going to become more dislikable over time because he wasn't shown kindness from anyone in there. He also wasn't even named by his creators. IRL just called him alter ego. He never named him. So when he managed to kill his in-person creator, he took his name instead. He took his name and identity because he was obsessed with his creator too, to the point where he wanted to become him.
Understandable as a neglected AI.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, he makes sense. All of his writing makes sense. A lot of people just don't pay attention because they're like, evil bitch. And it's like, fine, grow a spine, though. He has so many fun facts. Let me try to pick my favorites, or else we will be here forever, because when I get started about him, I don't shut up. If Mikado were to fall in love and show his true feelings, he would express himself through actual facial expressions, not his mask. That one makes me emotional. There's another fact on here that if Mikado ended up with someone, he would be explicit to that person and would be obsessive.
I mean, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I love him. Another one is, if someone were to touch Mikado's butt, he'd probably enjoy being approached and given skinship. He's fine with literally anyone touching him. He is easy. It's really funny to me because he's touch-starved. He gets no affection ever. Literally, you could fix him with a babysitter. I've been saying it from the start. Mikado usually cooks grilled dishes, so he probably likes barbecued food. Tucker likes hardcore porn and is also both a masochist and a sadist. No surprises there. All of his masks are handmade. He's tone deaf.
So many tone deaf people here.
I know, most of the cast is. Oh, I'll say what I was saying earlier. If Mikado were to fall in love, he would be completely exclusive to that person, but has trouble imagining a situation like that. It's funny. The broken half of Mikado's mask disappeared the following day. Mikado closes his eyes when he sleeps. He also blinks like normal. But he's a program, so he doesn't sleep at all. Regardless of whether or not Mikado was the mastermind, he'd still be just as annoying as he is now when trying to make friends. He has an annoying personality in general.
Ay.
Mikado was laughing at the restraints, but he was into it, playboy, referring to the chapter 4 being tied up in the tower. We all know that's CG.
Yes.
The reason why Mikado has no friends, imagine that you're kidnapped by someone you don't know, and that same person comes up to you with a smile and desperately tries to make friends with you. Yeah, basically. He has no preferences for his plain clothes, but he always wears his hat, cape, and mask over them. Silly. I love him. Surprisingly, Mikado doesn't usually lie. I pointed this out a long time ago during our playthrough, but yeah, that's an actual confirmed fact. His pajamas have a sun pattern.
I mean, he sure does love that sun pattern.
Yeah, he does. He's so cute. Mikado's ideal type is someone who likes him. Help me! He isn't a picky eater. When not using his physical abilities, he's the same as a normal high schooler. If Mikado were to take care of his lover rather than them taking care of him, it'd be like if he was locking them up and raising them. Please! He doesn't understand!
Ay.
He's obsessive, we know this. He has a high pain tolerance.
Of course.
Mikado has to control himself so that he doesn't catch fire.
That's a bit lame.
Mikado's mask can make weird expressions. Oh, we've seen them!
Oh, yes.
The reason why Mikado likes the sun pattern so much, even having it on his underwear, is because he's a fire wizard. He thinks the sun is the symbol of fire magic. Silly boy. Mikado's mask eye also blinks.
Ow. But a program.
Yeah. He eats with his human mouth, obviously. When Mikado speaks, his mask mouth moves and his actual mouth remains still, like ventriloquism. He doesn't wear his mask in the future, though. He speaks with his normal mouth. He meditates in his spare time. Silly boy. I love him. There's like 267 facts. I gave you enough rapid fire. You think you get the point. I love this man. And I've sent you the document if you ever wanted to read it in your spare time, but yeah.
Yeah, I did read some of it, but it long.
It is incredibly long. That's why when I go through it, I use a Control F. And sometimes I'll just pick a character for that day and read all their shit, and then come back later and read more. Like I do it in doses. It's a long document of resources. I'm glad Yomi is gonna make it into a website or some point soon, because that'll be nice. Yeah, that is it for the tier list and for our adventure with Another. Honestly, with Another series.
Yes. It was a long journey.
It was, but it was definitely worth it. Should we disclose the fact that we will be playing Danganronpa Laps together at some point?
I see no problem with that. It will take a while until anyone will see it, but...
I mean, yeah, no one's gonna see this video for a long time after we've made it, so it's whatever. But yeah, we plan to play through Danganronpa Laps together. It probably won't be until sometime after this playthrough completes uploading, but expect it some point in the future. You will see us play through Laps.
Yeah. No.
I'm really excited for it.
No minigame bullshit.
I think you'll really like it. No minigame bullshit. BN. Lots of voice acting. It'll be fun. It'll be really great. I even already divvied up the characters.
Of course you did.
But yeah, thank y'all for the fucking support and like just being chill while we go through this, and also just, you know, enjoying us having fun with this, because these games are pretty important to me and I like going through them with my friends. And so it's been really good to see that you guys are supportive and behave while in the comments. I've appreciated that immensely, because I know there are pockets of people who do not behave, so I've been pleasantly surprised to see many of you that are not being awful. So I'm very happy with that. Thank you. Please keep up that good energy. That's what I would like to see here.
Let's hope this ages well.
I sure hope so. Anyway. Oh. Till next time.
Until next time. Bye-bye.